into the party wagon and hold on to your pizza. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Epic Tales from the Sewers. I'm your host Justin, with my co-host Eric. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself there, Justin?
I'm doing great, man. We are bringing back an absolute delight of a guest, friend of the show, and for his second full appearance, Mr. Mike Rooth.
Hey guys,
legend.
Gotta love it. He's represented the Epic Shells hat, so that's just fantastic.
Yeah,
Is that orange or the red one? I forget which one we.
That's the orange one. Yeah, I had to have
that
the
thing
orange
is
one
vibrant.
for sure. It's
Matches
the most
the
orange
Viking
thing.
beard.
Yeah.
Oh, the pin too. Cool. Yeah, I forgot.
Oh yeah, I got the pin on there too. Yeah. Oh, other way. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
A lot's happened since we last talked. I think we talked to you right before issue 5 dropped of Last Ronin. So
Yeah.
It's been a bit.
It's been a bit. I think I had just finished the Usagi Yojimbo cover too, right?
Yeah, that was an absolute smoke show of a cover.
Well,
too.
it was a preview. You showed us a preview of that bad boy before it came out.
Right. Yes. Yeah, lots happened since then. It's been a little bit crazy.
Was that a Big Country Comics, or was that like Yellow Slow or Jolzar? Who was that one?
Oh, the Usagi Yojimbo. That was Big Country Comics. Yeah.
Oh, big. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And I really enjoyed doing that one because anytime I can draw a snowy scene, it means that I can really, really take the lid off the box when it comes to doing remarques. And I left myself some nice white pockets of space of snow on that cover, so that I could, actually, I think I might have that.
Geez, that's really smart, actually. So you're setting yourself up for your future works.
Yeah, so you can kind of see there. I'll get the glare off there, but all that white snow. I mean, I could draw weapons sticking out of the snow. I could draw people hiding behind the guardian. The guardian dog here. I drew I actually drew in one. I drew a storm shadow.
Wow!
Leonardo. They're around here somewhere. So I had some pretty cool remark requests. I had 3 of them for my Dodge Kickstarter that I had to fulfill. So that was pretty cool. I'm not sure if we talked about the Dodge Kickstarter then.
We did talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I signed up. Hell yeah!
Oh yeah, right on.
Same here.
That was a thrill to have that one go over so well too. That was a nice surprise, and man, it was. I'm really proud of the book. I actually have in my hands right here. I got my copies of the black and white edition, sketch cover edition of issue 3, which is the black and white interiors, the uncolored version.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
And I'm really, really happy with how it came out. It was from a local printer as well here, literally across the street from me. So it's always nice to do a local business, and they did a beautiful job on these. They don't really do a lot of high-end color stuff in terms of comic books, but because this book was black and white and I wanted a nice surface that I could draw on, it's got a really nice paper, so my artist friends probably won't yell at me too much.
Good.
They'll actually kind of have a nice tooth to them, and you'll be able to do some washes and whatever markers you want to use on them. So I tried to keep that in mind when I was doing these. And anyway, sorry, I'm rambling, but
that's awesome because we want to talk about Dodge. We want to talk about that because that was the big thing, kind of before when we talked, and it was like, all right, this is happening, and then like since it's happened, and the Kickstarter was really successful. Dodge, for anyone listening who's just turning in for the first time, Dodge is essentially a werebear, right? And it's kind of like I'd say it's an action comic that has aspects of the supernatural and like the super action, like G.I. Joe sort of aspects of it. And wasn't it based on an Image comic? I don't recall what the name was or something.
Yeah, Dodge was for the character Chris the Animal Dodge, the main character. He shows up for the first time in a series called Retcon. And Retcon is the series that like Dodge kind of takes place in. It's the universe that it takes place in. The idea with Retcon is that it's the same adversary in every arc. It's the same set of characters, more or less, with a few variants. and basically the same action plays out, except you're in a different timeline or a different setting, different set of circumstances than the previous time they tried to defeat the adversary. And so it happens like that, where if they're not successful, they get rebooted somewhere else. And so Dodge is kind of a retelling or a possible telling of Chris the Animal Dodge's origins. Because when you meet him in Retcon, which I highly recommend, it's Matt Nixon wrote that as well, and Toby Cypress did the interior art, and Matt Krotzer, our letterer for Dodge, he lettered it. It's just a thing of beauty. It's a wonderful story. Really, really cool ideas get introduced into it. But for whatever reason, Chris the Animal Dodge was kind of introduced as like a side character to introduce the story. He's basically a guy who's kind of off his nut, and he's sitting in a kind of like what do you call it, like a therapy session with a group therapy session, but instead of like talking about addiction or whatever, he's talking about how like we had to kill monsters and we had to fight witches and we had to do all this stuff, and everyone thinks he's just nuts. But anyway, then the story kind of goes from there, and yeah, man, it's been an awesome thrill to work on it. We really wanted Dodge to feel a little bit like that 1980s and 90s comic, The Nom. Which was also presented in black and white. I'd love to do Dodge at full size, magazine size too. That
would be crazy.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would. I didn't think I'd be drawing so much army stuff, so much military stuff. But I don't feel like something I was particularly strong at doing. But you know what? It gave me lots of practice, and you always got to keep those other skills sharp. You can't always just draw Swamp Thing and Ninja Turtles all day. Sometimes you have to draw tank treads or webbing or whatever, right? So so there were some challenges with the book for sure. Also, drawing all the interiors is a much different set of gears than working just doing covers. Whole different set of muscle group gets used drawing pages, and much more time in the chair too.
Oh yeah, I imagine. Do you find yourself like looking for like architectural references or anything else like that? Like, how do you go about when you do like a building or something like that? Like, what's that process like?
When I'm sort of doing it, I've never felt like doing really elaborate perspective scenes is something I've ever been strong at. Revealing some vulnerabilities here, but I always like it when a story takes place in the woods or in the jungle or in the snow, because it is a challenge. It is a challenge. It's never come second nature to me. So what I do is I tend to box things out as if I only had cereal boxes to lay out my scenes with, and just try to think in terms of geometry that way. And then I'll start to kind of tighten down on the different elements and figure out what they're going to look like, what they're going to be. There's all kinds of tricks to doing it properly. I have a lot of bad habits when it comes to setting a scene. I try to pick my shots very, very carefully. but yeah, it's definitely photo reference is a helpful thing. It's certainly for texture and for color and things like that. I very often do my own colors. So it's photos are it's every person working in comics today is making use of reference in some capacity, unless they're drawing in a very, very cartoony style. That doesn't require that kind of understanding of scene.
Google is your friend, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. And there's all kinds of tools out there. Honestly, when it comes to doing 3D stuff, just graph paper. Just having graph paper and doing a topographical straight down view of what a room or a compound or a alleyway or whatever the scene your artwork is taking place in, your story is taking place in. Just doing as if it was a game map from a straight on top view, and then just building out from there. You can place cars, you can place objects, trash cans, whatever's in there, just looking at it from purely from a topographical view, and then just kind of build up your thicknesses and your way of thinking in terms of 3D and placing your figures in that space. That's usually the biggest challenge, is placing multiple figures in a space. But you know what? There's all kinds of tricks for that. There's so many times I want to go back to school. But when I say go back to school, I mean, like, I want to go and hang out at like Leonard Kirk's house for a day and just watch him draw pages, or go to Tom Fowler's house and watch him lay out some crazy stuff on his pages. And people that just live and breathe comics full time, like interiors, like just to see how they operate, because those guys, I mean, I'm in awe of the comic book artists for whom that is all they do is the interior artwork. It's a tremendous demand of your time and your wits. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really, but your practice that you get would be like unbeatable. It'd be better than going, it'd be better than training at a dojo. You know what I mean? It would be, it really is. Like
we were saying this about Eastman when I was looking at the design guide for the Last Ronin and just looking at like the building and the cityscape that he did and everything and like the size models and all that. I'm like, he is so underrated when it comes to this stuff. And I mean, I haven't seen him really do interiors until Last Ronin. It had been like forever. He's just doing covers and stuff. But then you're like, wow, he is legit, man. It's and just like the silly stuff. It's like, look at that garbage can. It's a Kevin Eastman garbage can, man.
Absolutely. No, his style was so distinctive for sure. And it's gotten more distinctive now in a way. It's you look at his older stuff, you look at his stuff now, there's a clear it's the same guy, you know what I mean? But there's a journey there. There's a story in those lines. There's a whole lifetime in those heavy black inks he's using. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff that just like rips me apart when I look at his work. I mean, I had the very rare and wonderful occasion to speak with him and meet him in person at Granite Comic Con, and we only got about 15 minutes to chat or so, but it was amazing. We talked about comics, we talked about drawing covers, and talked about how I told him, I said, I don't know why I told him this. It was probably a totally weird fanboy thing to say. I just said, your enthusiasm. I said, your enthusiasm when you reveal new work that you've done for Marvel, covers you've done, projects that you're proud of, Turtle stuff, Ronin stuff that's coming out, new cover this, new cover that, variant covers, all Kevin Eastman. And the enthusiasm with which he's like, here's my new cover, and here's a cover for The Thing that I did. And I told him, I said, when I saw you do a cover for The Thing, that blew my head apart because that's my favorite character. And the joy in your, like, oh my God, I got to do The Thing comic. And he laughed. He was like, oh man, he was like, when I was drawing that stuff and submitting my roughs, he's like, it was a nightmare. He's like, I would sketch like crazy, coming up with ideas for Marvel comics and send them off, and then I'd hide, like be afraid of the phone to ring. And I know that feeling, so it was really cool to connect with him on that level, just for a minute. But it was something I won't forget because he was just a real dude, man, just a real guy that we just hung out and chatted about comics and our love of comics. And I mentioned that I had done the wraparound covers. Like I didn't expect him to know who I was. I just said I'd done the wraparound covers on a few of the variants, and he was like, I love doing wraparound covers. He's like, that's why we had to go with wraparound when we were doing the first, couple books. Like we had to have those, we had a big story to tell. We wanted to, do it on the whole cover kind of thing.
That's so exciting.
It was really cool to chat with him. Yeah. So sorry, I probably jumped ahead there.
No, that's like exactly what I was hoping to capture. So Eric and I were talking, and we're like, you know what, we need to get Mike on to capture some of this, like the energy and the enthusiasm from Granite.
Oh,
because we're hoping to go next year. I couldn't go this year because I'm getting married in 11 days.
That's fantastic, man! Congratulations, holy moly!
Congrats there.
Yeah, it's exciting. Second time's a charm, as they say. So second time around, right?
Hey, man, you know what? Love is love, man.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
That's beautiful. No, that's good. That's good. Well, that's a very good reason to not be.
Oh yeah,
that's for sure. Honestly, I want to thank you guys because since the last time I was on your show, which was the first time, I have had such a massive connection with so many Turtles fans, and Eric sharing my stuff on the different fan groups and stuff, and just the love you guys show on my Turtles post, man. Like it really does mean a lot to me, and the fan love for Turtles, I had no idea. I mean, I knew it was powerful because I feel it too, and I'm a part of it too. But when I got to Granite, that was a whole other thing. I had no idea. I really had no idea, and I spent most of that weekend just in awe, especially on the first day, because the first day was kind of unique, and I'll tell you why in a sec. But it was, there was just something so crazy about it. There was something so, oh man, I don't know how. I feel like I'm stammering here.
No, you're fine.
Honestly, it was when I got to the venue and realized, oh wow, this is it's a hotel venue. Like I've been to shows like this before, but this is really nice, and they got 2 huge rooms. Like this is going to be a pretty big show. Not the biggest show I've ever been to, but I thought this is going to be a pretty big show. And then the place just it had this small show this small show status in terms of its location, but the huge show energy. And I had just come hot off the heels of Toronto Fan Expo, which is the biggest show that we have here in Canada.
Yeah,
I had my best outing there ever, which was I wasn't sure how it was going to go because it was the first one back where there's no mandates, no restrictions, whatever. Everyone's just in there, and the event was oversold, so it had major issues in terms of population in the building.
Wow.
It was a bit of a catastrophe in for some fans who were waiting hours to get in and missed all their photo ops because there was a fire marshal at the door counting heads because they had gone way oversold.
Wow.
So there was a lot of problems with that gigantic show. But from my perspective, I didn't know about that until after the show was over. From my perspective, I sat there drawing all weekend long and was very, very busy. And was very much looking forward to the energy of carrying that energy over to Granite, not knowing what Granite was going to be like. And then getting to Granite and, we pulled down into the underground parking lot and, my wife and I are just getting our luggage out and I can hear all these voices in this dark underground, our first trip to terrifying America in 4 or 5 years, you know what I mean? And we're down in this underground parking lot and I hear these voices and there's all these big thuggy looking dudes coming towards us in the underground, these like big brawny guys and and as they get closer I can hear they're all talking about turtles and it was like this mob of like Bish kids and turtles.
I knew it.
that came to my our vehicle. And anyway, it was just kind of amazing. That's how I met Randy for the first time in person. I know he's a friend of the show.
Yep.
And Papa Sibo, David,
nice.
Just an unbelievable guy. And yeah, the whole Bish Kids crew, man, Wade and all those guys. Like it was Ben himself. I met later on. And, Ben, here's Ben, walks right up to me and never seen the guy before. Comes up from behind me, gives me a hug. That's how.
Oh yeah.
Like just the nicest guy in the world, man.
That's been. I mean, my experience with Ben. Like I was literally waiting in line for Kevin Eastman down in Lexington, and he looked at me and he says, "I recognize that beard." He knew exactly who I was and everything because like I've had some personal conversations with like Ben. Like this is like I started out when Bish Kids Club was like I was like 140 something, 150 something, whatever. Mm-hmm. And like me and him, like he sent me like some personal messages. We talked about some stuff, personal stuff or whatever. And I mean, he's just so humble. I mean, even though he's made it pretty decent, he's made it big in the turtle world, especially. Like he is still humble. Eastman is still humble, even though dude. I mean he's just
so impressed by all those guys, man. Honestly, like the whole championship belt thing, we had a lot of fun with the heat around that, just building it up and getting people interested, and I think it worked and it was a lot of fun. But Ben was just so cool, and he was straight up like, okay, man, so that's gonna happen tomorrow. Just try not to hurt me. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No one's getting hurt. We're just gonna go in and have fun. It's gonna be fun, He
must have listened to our episode where you talked about palling around with Jim Neinhart.
Yeah.
Man, it was super cool. The cool thing was too, we got upstairs after we unloaded our vehicle. And we were coming up to our hotel room and we were just checking in. And that's when we saw Troy Little. And Troy's an old friend of ours, and he'd be an awesome guy in your show too.
And he will be at the Big Country Expo in next month in November.
That's true. Troy also is, of course, the artist of the Ragdolls book. He did the artwork over Eastman's layouts, which just made for a really, really incredible product. I think, I just really enjoyed it. I actually picked that book up, and shortly after we connected with Troy, we met David Avalone, who is an awesome dude, and of course he co-wrote or was attached to I'm just screwing this up real bad. You know which one I'm talking about. The the one where the Ragdoll Ronins came from.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of Little Red Ronin. I'm sorry.
Drawing Blood.
Drawing Blood. Oh,
sorry. I totally slipped my
split decision, guys.
Yeah. Awesome book, unbelievable book. So it was cool to meet him, and it was just anyway. That was like within moments of just arriving at the hotel. We had already kind of collected these people and sat down to have a meal, and that's when I met Ben, and it was just I don't want to give you guys the whole play-by-play, but it was incredible just upon showing up at the show to be greeted like that by fans. Never happened to me before. And just to walk around and see everyone's got turtle shirts on, everyone's got turtle stuff, and then the next day was the day, and there was some kind of issue with the rooms, the rooms where they were placing the different artists. So what ended up happening was all the Turtles artists, luckily me included, we all got sent to this one room, which was basically like a pub kind of type, old-fashioned style kind of saloon pub off to the side inside the convention. I can't remember, it was called like the Penstoke room or something like that. Anyway, it was a gorgeous room, all wood, beautiful, a long wooden bar, and that's where all the Turtles artists ended up. And I've never drawn so many turtles in my life as I did that day. It was all just remarks, you know what I mean? It was all just like quick remarks, as quick as I could go, but it was amazing. It was just like it was I've never seen such a focused crowd of fandom before.
It's interesting too, because most of the time when I go to a con, I see about 1,000 guys dressed like Deadpool, with 1,000 gals dressed like Harley Quinn.
Yep.
And that's like, okay, that's the most of what you'll see.
Yeah.
So maybe a couple Spider-Man and stuff like that, but that's like the most common element that I notice.
Yeah.
But to see all that turtle stuff, that would be really cool.
It was just incredible, and the stuff people were bringing in to sign, and just like, oh man, it was just really, I can't say enough about it. It was so cool.
Tell us about this the championship belt match that you had there, because
so
it was fun to watch the pictures of.
It was a blast. First of all, I'd already had, like, Friday was such a good show. I went back to my hotel room and ended up drawing remarks until about midnight because I still had a bunch more to do. I wanted to be able to start fresh on Saturday, because on the Saturday we had to change locations to a new room and set up somewhere else. And that's when I got to set up next to Ryan Brown, who is an amazing artist and an amazing dude, and a friend of Ben Bishop's as well. And we got to know, I've been friends with him for years on Instagram. And
which Ryan Brown is this, by the way? Is this the God Hates Astronauts Ryan Brown? Or is this the original Mirage Ryan Brown?
There are two Ryan Browns.
There's like 7.
Ryan G. Brown. Yeah, there's a whole bunch, isn't there? This was Ryan G. Brown, Ryan Gary Brown. He is. Oh man, I know he did. I'm pretty sure he did a Ronin cover.
I gotta look up which one he is, because I think I know which one he is, and I love that.
Yeah, he did do a Ronin cover. I know who you're thinking about, but I can't. Like you said, there's too many like Ryan Browns.
Yeah,
because we talked about this a while back. I think we talked about it with Randy.
Okay,
Randy, we did. Yeah,
we talked, and it was like it's not the original Mirage,
right?
Brown,
and they're both Brown with an E at the end, which is also hilarious. It's not like you can
which that throws everything off. I mean,
so yeah.
Oh, yes. All right. So this is the one I'm thinking of. He does a great book called God Hates Astronauts.
Okay, yeah.
And it's so out there. Like he's got
Something
a
cool.
character called like Tiger Eating Hamburger, and he's
Oh.
got layered cheeseburger. It's insane.
And
he always has a cheeseburger.
Called, Murder Hobo something. Murder
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There's Burger Hobo, and he was doing another one with Charles Soule, and
oh man, yeah, he's really good. His work was so
like,
good.
like swear words or something. I forget what it is. Curse words, I think.
He was doing these really cool things in his remarks too, where he would take a cover and he would take some white paint, whiteout paint actually, and he would basically just kind of rough in the shape of where he was going to put his remark. But he would leave lines sticking out for like where he was going to have a sword handle or a weapon or something like this. Anyway, he made these really fantastic white shapes on these covers, and then he would just fill them in and draw like glass Ronins in there.
What?
Super cool. I'm like, you're a genius, especially at a show. He was doing them quick and they looked really great, and I was like, I'm stealing that.
Yeah,
That was the thing about the show. I didn't have to steal anything. Everyone was so kind. Like, even Ben, when I sat up next to Ben, I was 2 or 3 tables down from him in the first day. And he has these fantastic signs that are like, they pop up higher than the table, but they don't actually obscure anyone's vision because you actually set the base of it on the table and you can set books around it and stuff so the base is invisible. And it's this beautiful horizontal banner that basically lifts up, and basically when your day is done, you just lower it, and it kind of lowers like a gate and blocks everything from your table. So, anyway, I thought it was genius, and I'm like, oh, that's not, and like everyone was like, oh, and right away, Ben was like, here, contact these people, like go get the sign from these people, like right away, like there was no secrets. It was just like, no, go here, get this, it's good.
Wow. Yeah.
So
that is kind of rare, isn't it?
Really cool. It was really cool. Yeah, I mean, the comics community is generally kind of like that, but for the most part. But it was just, I don't know. I found that my treatment at that show by my peers and by the fans and by the organizers was just like something else entirely. And all weekend long, I was busy. And then, yes, the Granite State Championship, which you asked me about 15 minutes ago.
No, it's fine.
The Granite State Comic-Con Sketch-Off Championship is a belt that is a property of the show. And it is Ben was the champion. And I went in there secretly in my heart knowing that I was going to win. I don't know why. I just went in knowing that I was going to win. And I don't win stuff. So it was cool to go in and just I'm going to win. This is it. And I didn't know if it was just going to be one-on-one or if there's going to be a bunch of artists in. And thankfully, it was really, really cool because we showed up there, and of course, I look ridiculous, right? I'm this visiting Canadian. I wander into this room, and I've got my backpack. My backpack is loaded with art supplies. I'm talking bags of jars of paint. Erica, actually, my wife, she actually went out and grabbed a bunch of twigs and branches and a bunch of dead flowers. And I had dead flowers sticking out of my backpack, too. And
You are actually Swamp Thing.
When I didn't know any of the artists, I hadn't met Eric Klaus yet. I hadn't met Chris Vance. I hadn't met Santaluco. I hadn't met who else was there with us? Oh man, I'd only barely met Ben. I'd chatted with him just briefly a couple times. And Eric, I mentioned Eric Klaus. Yeah, there was, how many was there? There was 4 of us or 5 of us? 5 of us, I thought. Oh, who am I?
I remember Vance and Santaluco.
I feel terrible. Who am I forgetting? Dang. Why can't I think of who it was? Oh,
it wasn't Steve Levine, right? He wasn't doing it.
Oh, it wasn't Steve Levine. No. Oh man, I feel terrible. You know what? It's gonna be. It's gonna be on my phone. Wow, where is it here? This is embarrassing. I'll find it. Hold on. Yeah, it was honestly, it was a thrill of a lifetime for me. I didn't know who. No, I guess I named everybody. Yeah. No. Santaluco, Eric Klaus. Yeah, Ben Bishop, Chris Vance, and myself. That's right. Yep. I was thinking there's 5. I've only said 4 guys. Yeah, myself as well. I was also in there, and it was a blast. So I had the dead flowers anyway. I didn't know who these guys were. I'm standing outside waiting to go in. The crowd's already sitting inside there. And I'm like, I brought dead flowers to draw with. And Sanfilippo kind of looked at me and I said, well, one of them is to do the drawing with, and one of them is to lay on Ben Bishop's grave.
Nice.
Then they thought I was real serious, but anyway, it was pretty good.
Oh my
Well,
God.
I mean, come on now. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, some of the stuff that you do, I mean, foreign objects, I mean, they in a sense they have to take you serious. That's just me. I mean, I did send you some. I sent you some. What was it? Turtle weapons for you
to have that. I've got this one here, which I think is going to be good. This is.
That's from the sewer kicking Donatello. Yep.
Okay, that's what it's from. All right, I wasn't sure. I
have a bag full of.
Sweet.
I can find it real quick. To be honest with you, see if I have this bag.
I didn't know what we were going to be drawing with or what the rules were. I get there, and they gave us these amazing intros. This dude who I can't remember his name. He called us all in one at a time, but he actually wrote up these fantastic little wrestling promos. I think Randy had something to do with those as well. It was brilliant, though. It was just brilliant, and the crowd wasn't a giant room, but everyone was super into it.
That's cool.
We get up there and I got this giant bag of art supplies. Everyone else has got a pen. They're like, oh.
They got a pen.
And the dude who was the host, he walks in and he hands out comic book backing boards to sketch with. And he comes to me and I'm just like, comic book backing boards. I'm like, they had an AV system. I'm like, is the AV system on? Are they going to be able to see what we're drawing? Like, can we show it on the AV? They had a big screen and everything. He's like, I don't know if we have that running yet. I'm like, all right. Well, I leaned over and I looked down at the row at the guys and I said, do you guys want to draw on some real paper? Like, you want some big paper? They're like, no, we're fine. I'm like, are you sure? Because I have Bristol board. I got plenty to go around. One for each of you if you want. Draw nice and big. They're like, no, it's fine. I said, okay. So I put the backing board down. I pulled up this huge sheet of Bristol board, right? Well, I didn't know what we were going to be drawing. So the first challenge was Mondo Gecko skydiving.
Yeah.
And we had 10 minutes. And I was like, oh, damn, 10 minutes. All right. Well, no time to do anything fancy. So I just quickly scribbled a gesture in pencil. And then I grabbed my brush pen and just started to lay in some shapes and go. And everyone was doing these nice little detailed drawings, and they're beautiful. Like, I'm sitting next to these guys and I'm like, holy moly, like all these cats can draw. And mine was real big and messy, but it was big. And so when the sketch was over and the 10 minutes was over, we had to hold them up to the crowd and get a response from the crowd. Well, everyone's holding up these comic book sized boards, right? And I'm holding up something that basically was like this, right? Anyway, it was all by crowd approval. I had a feeling it was going to be like that. So,
oh, nice.
I brought my secret yellow paint in case the big paper didn't quite do it. Didn't have to crack out the yellow paint though. But yeah, working bigger worked to my advantage because everyone could actually see what I was drawing and without having to walk up and get a look kind of thing, right? So anyway, it was super cool. And that was the first challenge. I made it to the second round, and then in the second round we had
Leatherhead.
It was Casey Jones grocery shopping. Yeah, that's what
grocery shopping.
And
that's
so
where Dinner got that.
So I just drew like a big giant Casey Jones with two huge grocery bags walking down the aisle. And, but again, everyone was drawing on these small backing boards, right? So I think I won that round. And then the third round was yoga. It was Leatherhead doing yoga. So the funny thing was I drew my Leatherhead in warrior pose transitioning into triangle. And I forgot to draw his tail. And the other artist had actually done cool stuff with his tail, like him doing yoga, but the tail's involved somehow, right? I forgot to put a tail on him. I just forgot. And anyway, they went by crowd approval, and the crowd decided that they liked my big drawing better than the tiny, really good drawing beside me. Because there's no way I was drawing anything better than those guys. Those guys were, all of them were really good. Like all of them are just like, it was just an honor to sit up there with those guys. They were fantastic to draw with. Like it was just amazing.
I was just thinking how like the deck is stacked against you, because it's like, yeah, we're gonna put you with like the guy who drew the first appearance of Mondo Gecko, and like the guy who drew the miniseries. And it's like
it was crazy. It was crazy for me. And the crazy thing was, I'm a Turtles fan for sure, but I wasn't super familiar with Mondo Gecko. I thought my brother may have had the action figure. I couldn't remember exactly. I didn't know the character well enough to just know what he looked like off the top of my head. So I had to do a quick photo reference on him. But I managed the other things okay. And then while everyone was cheering, I sat down, and while the host was kind of talking to the crowd, I very quickly, did the old no-look tail. And I drew a tail on my, on my ground. I didn't want anyone to go home with a leather head that didn't have a tail.
So what did they do? Did they auction these off afterwards?
No, they kind of gave them each round they handed them out through a trivia question or something.
Oh, okay.
So it was actually a Dodge trivia question that won the guy. I think the final one, which is pretty cool.
That's great.
I had done a very quick talk about Dodge and just said it was, the short form was it was kind of like Hellboy meets G.I. Joe. And so he asked the crowd member, what comics did Mike reference and as an example of what Dodge is like. And one guy remembered, so that was good. And he was a Bish kid, too.
Oh,
the guy from the Bish kids was unbelievable because, it's
not a cult.
Some people say it's a cult. I wasn't going to be one of those people, but then I did see it operating in front of my eyes. And I never saw anything quite like that. I've been doing this a long time. I've never seen any kind of fan love like that young man has. That was something. That was really something. Not in a creepy way, in a cool way, because everyone's really cool. I've known a thing or two about cults in the past, art cults and otherwise. And that one, that's something special he's got going on there. I didn't know how quite to define it. It's like everyone just but it's not a cult, It's kind of casual.
They have name badges and stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of the casual acceptance that yes, it is, but we won't call it that because cult has an ickiness to it. But you know what? They're all awesome people, and it's
like a grown man support group almost.
Yeah, it is, man.
But you know what? It would only be truly a cult if those guys didn't all bust his balls as much as they did. Because
Bill is the biggest one.
Everyone gives him the hardest time, and he takes it all with such stride.
Yes,
and they were cheering. I mean, I won. Their champ is there. Their champ has the belt, and I'm there with the champ's buddies who I've never met. And the Bish kids cheered me to victory in that sketch battle.
Wow!
Because they filled up the room, and I mean, when it's crazy for me to be such a giant wrestling fan my whole life, and to always want to be a pro wrestler or an artist, and then to come to a place where I'm drawing some of my favorite characters that have ever showed up on the page. And then to get recognized in a sketch battle against guys who draw those characters for a living too. It was win or lose, it wouldn't have mattered. It was just amazing to be there. But then when Ben comes over and handed me the belt, he kind of crashed it onto me. And I'm holding the belt over my head. And man, the air shook. The air shook like I'd never experienced anything like that. I've been to Motorhead concerts that didn't feel that much power, And then, man, it was just so cool. I walk out of there with the belt, and everyone was just awesome. And everywhere I went, people were like, it was just the greatest day ever. it was fantastic.
Cloud 9, huh?
I did all my sketches the rest of the day for free after that. I probably shouldn't.
Oh, no kidding.
But I just quietly didn't charge anyone for sketches after that because I kind of on cloud 9, and it lasted a long time. It was a shame to wasn't ashamed to leave the show early. We didn't leave the show early, but it would have been nice to hang out and party with all those guys on Sunday night. But we had a long drive home, so we wanted to try to get to the coast on the Sunday night and have a night to chill, wake up in the morning and maybe jump in the ocean for a minute before we have to drive up to Canada. So, but next year, I wasn't sure if I was going to come back next year, but now I have to, because I have to defend the belt. Plus, you guys might be there, which will be awesome.
Absolutely.
I actually talked to him today, so I'm getting my table set, and I'm hoping that if there's a Turtles room that we could be in it.
Let's just be in it for sure. You got to be in it. You got to be in it. The content you guys would be able to, you guys could interview the fans at that place. That was the most amazing thing to me, man. I'm sitting there and I'm doing sketches for people's books and I'm signing autographs, and it just feels like magic, But I'm signing books for people who are in their 70s. I'm signing toys and things like that for kids who are like younger kids. Like, it was a fan like love that just spans, and they were so focused, because I consider myself an old Turtles fan, and there was guys who were probably Turtles came out in '84, so I was like 9 when I first discovered them, and there was probably guys who were 15 in '84, guys who were 20 in '84 who picked those up and loved them. So there I am signing book for guys who are 60, guys who are older than it was amazing. I met a young woman who, I don't want to guess at how old she was, but she out of nowhere became a huge Dodge fan. She found out I was coming to the show and wanted to suddenly learn about Dodge, and bought a stack of Dodge pages out of my shop because she wanted me to be able to pick them up for me in person and meet me and stuff. And that was wow. I never had that kind of thing happen at a show before. Like before a show, total strangers, hey, you're coming to the show. Well, I'd love to get this if you can bring it, and I'd love to know more about Dodge. Bring some stuff to tell me about Dodge, And so that was huge, man. That was huge. And she's a Bish kid, and I was like, this is incredible, And she's an older lady than I am, But I just thought that was amazing. That kind of diversity in fandom. I thought that was just such a cool thing to see on display at a show like Granite.
Yeah, it's a special place, and
it really is special. It really is. And when I was getting set up, I didn't know anybody down there, so we were waiting for the rolling carts and stuff to help to move our boxes of books around and stuff, and we were borrowing the hotel's rolling carts and stuff like that. I got to meet people while basically waiting in a queue to get a rolling cart so I could set up my table. And everyone I met, different vendors, some people were doing board games, some people were doing their own artwork, some people were doing, comics, whatever. A lot of them are saying, this is my 10th year coming. This is my 14th year coming. This is my 15th year coming. Oh, I never missed this show. Oh, I live in New York City, but I never missed Granite. Oh, I live over here, but I never missed Granite. And getting that kind of feedback from everybody, it was across the board. So yeah, it was an impressive show. We could dedicate a whole 2-episode thing to Granite.
It's so cool.
Honestly, man, I went home with such a buzz, just feeling good. I'm not going to say I was in a rough place before I got there, but it's been a challenging summer. Let's just say that. And I feel like Granite cured a lot of things that were ailing me. I feel like it just it healed a lot of things. It knitted up some wounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can't really explain it, but it was wonderful.
Sometimes you got to get away. Got to get away sometimes, and makes you feel better. And what other better place to do it? It was pretty much at Granite. It's Turtle fans, and as there's quite a few people that you've got introduced to through the Turtle groups and stuff, and you got to meet them there.
Yeah,
and
got to meet Rob Denner, man. That was awesome. I've known Rob now a couple years online, through tags and Sketchamania and things like that. And then to meet him in person, that was fantastic. And he had all this cool stuff. He was getting signed. He had that big check that he rolls out.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I got to draw big Casey Jones on that, but then I felt bad because there were some really good drawings that went on there after mine, and I was like, damn, I want to go back. So next time I see him, I'm going to do something else on there or something.
Yeah. Rob's got the best Casey Jones stuff that exists.
Yeah, he does.
And it's not even where it's like, oh, well, what's the concept? Oh, it's X-Files, but it's Casey Jones. You're like, what did you just say? Yeah, okay. You know, and it's like, you talk about like Casey Jones with grocery bags and stuff like that. Like, I just saw like some of the other stuff that he came back from New York Comic Con with, and I'm like, man, Rob, you're the best, dude.
I know, he's got some awesome stuff.
You gotta respect Casey Jones is his favorite comic book character, like at all, and I'm like, you have to respect that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He gave me one of those, one of these to. It's one of those covers that's just black, but it has the different masks on there, and it's from 2015 or something like that, or 20.
Yeah, it's the jetpack one.
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
So I did that little sketch with the pencil crayons on there. It was kind of tricky to draw on this stuff, but yeah, that was kind of fun. So that's for Rob. That's getting mailed to Rob.
That's beautiful.
I'm just gonna wait for my Dodge books to show up, and then I was gonna mail it down with his stuff.
That makes sense.
All my Dodge stuff should be here. I got notifications, so it's at the mailbox. It's probably a huge box, which is why they couldn't deliver it today. But I should have my box of Dodge, so I can start shipping out all those orders.
I saw my 3 issues that they sent me something that said, "Hey, confirm your address." I'm like, okay, no problem.
I got that too.
Like, nice. Yeah, man, I'm super excited. I really am. It's so good to get that book out in everyone's hands. I'm super proud of how it came out. My good friend Danny Harrell actually stepped in and helped me color a few pages. The first 5 pages of the book are a flashback sequence, sort of, and I wanted them to just have a different feeling than the rest of the book. So Danny did the flats for me, and I rendered on top of his work, and it was really nice. He did really, really nice stuff. So I can't wait to see them, because I've seen the PDF, but I still haven't got the physical copy in my hands yet. So I'm pretty excited. I feel like it's what does Hugh Rookwood always say? Like schoolboy on good times or something like that. Like it's just man. It's exciting when you see something you put your heart and soul into come to flesh, and it's in your hands, and you know what I mean. You can start to spread the story around now, so.
Yeah. And I mean, speaking of that, I was thinking of that issue 132, which just came out. Yeah. Eric just got his hands on it. I have mine on the way. Thank you, Justin. Shout out to Justin. It's one of those things where it's like, what did that feel like? Just looking at it, because it's like, it's not just a Last Ronin variant. This is like an actual regular series stuck in the cultural zeitgeist. It's huge, man.
It was huge for me, honestly. I mean, weirdly bigger than Ronin and Jenica. My first time out to bat with Jenica. I mean, I loved on the Jenica cover actually that it had the classic, logo, the TMNT logo on top. That meant a lot to me to see that. But yeah, just a straight up cover, man. It's a pretty cool feeling. A huge honor for sure. I don't know. It's it's one of those things you just want it to last forever. It's cool.
It's so good too. Like,
and I brought the original down with me to the show, and it now belongs to a Bish kid, and that was really cool.
I think I know who that is.
Yeah. And man, it was just great. Weirdly, I had a ton of Turtles books there, but mostly people seem to be interested in artwork. I didn't sell a huge pile of books. I did move quite a few Last Ronin number 5s, because they were, they're variants you can only get from either Justin or I, and a couple of my Yellow Snow variants too. But I ended up. It was weird. Like Friday we sold some books, but then after that it was mostly just people coming after me for art. So either way is good for me. Good for me. It was an amazing show. But yeah, 132 was out, but there was also a variant that I think Randy had for 132 as well. So there might have been a few 132s that weekend.
He did mention this, didn't he?
Yeah. Freddie Williams, I think.
Yes, Freddie Williams, yeah. And that's one of my big regrets of the show, actually. I don't have very many. One of them was stopping to get Taco Bell in Maine on the way home. But my only other regret of this show was not meeting Freddie and his lady. I didn't get a chance to get over and say hello, and they were only 4 or 5 tables down. It was that kind of show, though. It was a busy enough show that I was sitting back to back with the Escorza brothers. I didn't even really know. You know what crazy. I mean? We had about 8 feet behind me. like we had quite a lot of room. Like we had a wonderful amount of space. And they were sitting facing the other way, back to back with me. So, like, at one point on Saturday, I'm like, I have to go over and say hello. This is ridiculous. Like, they're literally in the same airspace as me, and I can't believe I'm sitting with these guys. You know, it was pretty awesome. I didn't get to meet everyone I wanted to meet, and I was sitting there with them all. Like, they were all there. Jim Lawson was there. They're all just sitting within. You know,
I hear he is the nicest guy ever.
Yeah, and I never really got to chat with him. I got to chat with Ciro quite a bit. He was sitting next to me. Amazing guy. Holy moly. Watching him draw was a thrill too.
Yeah, he's got such a cool style. And I mean,
so
now you see it everywhere, but like he came up with that. And it's like,
well, it was kind of revolutionary in the way that he redesigned the turtles, right? And I don't think I realized he was that guy until like halfway through Saturday. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think I know who this guy is now. You know, I
slip a copy of Dodge into his hand.
Sorry?
You slip a copy of Dodge into his hand and be like, hey,
no, this is
there
it.
you go.
Yeah.
Tell your friends at Nickelodeon.
What could you do?
Yeah, right.
I wonder, you know. Yeah, I regret that I didn't get to chat too much about Dodge. I really wanted to, if I could have had a few drinks with that whole crew that night, I would have definitely brought up Dodge to Mr. Eastman, because I know Matt has some ideas about a Dodge TMNT crossover that we'd love to.
Oh man, yes. Make happen.
it would be too much fun to do, and it would fit kind of perfectly. And I know Matt is brilliant, so Matt, I'm sure, has a story that would just be like, you know, I'm sure it would fit perfectly. So we'll see, but I hope to see him at other shows. I
mean, that's something that maybe you could pitch to Ben, and
yeah, you know what,
put something in his ear, or
yeah, they're all cool guys. Like man, I can't wait to see them all again. I'm glad they all had a great New York Comic Con. I always, if I'm not at New York Comic Con, I always disappear from social media for a few days, because I get the blues big time.
The FOMO. If you're missing out.
I used to love doing that show. I did that show like 5 years in a row, and I kind of just got my wheels under me in this business. And it is a very unique place. It's for connection with publishers and other creators.
That's their backyard.
Pretty interesting. There's just a different energy about New York City. Plus, you recognize street corners that you saw in Daredevil comics and stuff, you know. And it's like, how do I used to always put it? New York is my favorite fictional place.
Yeah, I can see that. It's such a character too. Like if you go back and watch Taxi Driver, and then you watch something like Zoolander, I don't know, something like that. Like that's like a lot, more recent, and you're like, oh wow, it's still that same weird corner.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a high energy show. I haven't done it in a long time, so I'm always like a little sad when I'm not there. But then, the Monday comes and it's fine. I go back to my life and I emerge out of my cave.
You come out of your cave.
You're Canadian, New York, that always makes it tricky is New York Comic Con traditionally runs the same weekend as Canadian Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
So there was a few years there where I didn't see my family for Thanksgiving because I was in New York City, which they understood, but I always, it's always been a big deal for us. And so I always kind of hate missing it. So it was nice to have Thanksgiving with my family instead and not go to New York Comic Con. That certainly makes it feel better. Anyway.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
Well, those guys had a good show, though. That was looks like Randy and all those guys just had a blast, and I know they would. You can't not have a blast at that show. It's pretty cool. But you know what? Honestly, there was something about Granite that I prefer over shows of that magnitude. Because the attention and the love that you get at a show like Granite is measurably more and more focused than it is at a show like New York, even if New York has 10 times the people. There's just something different. There's more space. You feel like you're at a big show, but you have room to breathe. And it doesn't take you a half an hour to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's got none of those big show horror stories and all of the love, all of the energy. So, yeah.
Well, you mentioned going to see Motorhead, right? You ever get to see Motorhead or another group in like a club as opposed to like at a big coliseum?
Yeah.
And most of the people are there not because they got comp tickets and they're there to see a show. They're there to see the group.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Blue Oyster Cult in a circumstance like that, and it was like the stage was like knee high. They were right there, and all that was there like between us and them was like a net. You know, and it was like everybody there knew the songs, knew the band, everything. It was just insane, and it was just great. It was that sort of energy, and I'm like, oh man, I just love Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, the first time I saw Motorhead, the first time, was it the first time? Yes, it was the first time. Very, very small, filthy little club, horrible little like shack of a warehouse kind of place.
Sounds like a Motorhead show.
And I don't know if there was even 80 people in the place. You know what I mean? It was super weird. I don't know if the show wasn't advertised or what, but I remember showing up there and being like, oh, right on. So we were just right there at the stage, and same thing. Stage was like knee high, like they were right there. Lemmy walked out with his weird white plastic cowboy boots that he had, and just looked like and of course he walks out and there's a wind machine, so his hair is just going all the time, right? And he just gets into position, you know what I mean? And
this guy played bass for Hendrix. It's like,
just amazing. Yeah, every time I saw him was good, but seeing them in a small venue was wicked.
That's that energy, man. It's like you got that sort of energy.
The best time I think I ever saw Motorhead, I saw them so many times. It was so great. But when they came to my hometown of St. Catharines, that was just an unheard of thing. It was mind-boggling that they would come. You know, that was like 96, I think, 95 or 96. And they showed up, and we had this outdoor venue that was near this old truck station that got converted into like a flea market, an outdoor flea market. And there was a huge pavilion tent, like an old circus tent. So it was all held up by guy wires and ropes and stuff like that. Anyway, that's where Motorhead played, and they played Tiamat, which was amazing to see Tiamat. They traveled very far to come to our small town of St. Catharines to play. And Black Sabbath, but it wasn't Ozzy, and it wasn't.
No, it was Dio. Right?
It was Tony Martin, actually. So
we
used to joke and call it Brown Sabbath because they weren't quite as heavy, or maybe like dark gray Sabbath. You know what I mean? Not quite Black Sabbath, you know. But it was good. It was good all the same. We just thought it was lame that they were the main event because Motorhead destroyed everybody.
Oh yeah,
it was unbelievable. But yeah, man, that was a good time. Caught a guitar pick. Not one of Lemmy's, but I got one of Zoom's guitar picks.
Well, that's still really awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was man, that started a thing. That put a bug in my head. And then after that, I just kind of followed them around. Like, if I could get there, you know, if I could hitchhike, if I could tie a skateboard to the back of a van, I would get to
Back to the Future style.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, yeah, I know that was good. It was a good fun band to chase around. But yeah,
that's cool.
And that's what that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the smaller venues sometimes when it comes to Comic Cons can be a really nice surprise, really, really wonderful surprise because you get that focused audience, you get to have the conversations. The conversation where that fandom begins. That's where the love for your work or for your fans really grows, is when you get to have those conversations, real people conversations. When people come to your table and they realize that you're just a regular nerd, like just a regular guy that loves wrestling and toys and, you know, whatever, like comic books, you know what I mean?
You're like, did you really draw a Swamp Thing with a little piece from the Swamp Thing figure? You're like, yes, I did.
Oh man. Yeah, there was a demo thing at the Fan Expo. We did a sketch panel where it was me doing sketches with found objects, and I invited the crowd to bring found objects for me to draw with, provided they were sanitary, you know.
Yeah,
nothing really weird, like but I still got some weird stuff.
They're like, this is a pickle.
This is my boyfriend's old toothbrush, and I'm like, that's cool. I don't actually want to touch that, but that's cool. You can put it there, you know. And then I had like a case, like, you know, for your daily vitamins or whatever.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah,
little weird stuff like that. But I was dipping them with ink and trying to make marks with them, and drew a Swamp Thing with a piece of like a chip of wood that a guy brought in, like a little chip of petrified.
He just happened to have
a draw with
like,
this.
yeah, I like this.
Yeah, give me wood. I want to draw with some wood for sure. But
well, you never know. It's like that old "let's make a deal" thing. I mean, when we saw at C2E2 2 years ago, Jim Lee was there, and he was talking to people. He's like, "Oh, does anybody have nail clippers?" Somebody comes up with nail clippers, and they ended up leaving with a Jim Lee Batman sketch.
Amazing!
Oh my gosh!
It's just like, dude, you never know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the toenail clipper, I don't know about that one.
Okay. It was like a little. It was a little one, like a little.
It doesn't matter.
That's a little bit intimate. Yeah.
This was literally the month before COVID hit, so it was.
Oh,
yeah.
I think he has a foot fetish. That's just my guess.
Oh, geez, I don't know.
You know what? When you get to have those cool experiences with creators like that you really admire. I mean, I still have them sometimes too, and it's always the fanboy never dies. Like I honestly like when I knew that Troy was at the show, I knew that him and Kevin were friends. Like I knew that they worked on projects together and they were friends, and I was like, I wonder if Troy would introduce me to Kevin. And when I saw them talking, all I did was I kind of did like this meandering walk around just to kind of eventually end up in his line of sight, And then Troy was like, "Hey, Mike, come on over," and I was like, "Yes,
nice."
But, it was pretty awesome, man. It was.
Oh, that's so great.
It was just a very cool experience. Yeah.
I know one thing that Eric and I had talked about. We always mentioned that if we got you back on, we would discuss this, but there's this one point, and I feel like things turned the corner at that one point, and it was when issue 5 comes out, and you're doing a sketch cover, and the sketch cover ends up being the Ronin versus like the sickest version of the Hiroko Hiroto shredder that I've ever seen, and I mean, just like that to me was like, this guy's on another level, man.
Oh,
You remember that one, Eric, that we're talking about? It was a sketch cover for number 5, and I think it was a tags. Things are getting sketchy. And you just like you smoked it. It was just like, oh my god,
at each other.
Yeah.
And background. So that was actually a very, very big piece. That was It wasn't on a sketch cover, but it was.
It wasn't okay.
It was an 18 by 24 piece, but it was right around the time that number 5 came out. We were kind of celebrating the launch of number 5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Something.
No, because it was that that was because that you're talking about the one that where Ronin and Shredder were fighting, right?
Yeah.
This was after the release of 5.
Okay.
So what? It was after.
Because me and you were talking. Remember me and you were talking about that one. And because you were like, because I remember you were like thinking about some ideas, and I was like, well, what about?
Oh yeah. That's that. Yeah. So that's right. Yeah, the red one. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you talking about the big red one? Is that what the one you're talking about, Justin?
Yeah, the big.
I think it is. Yeah.
Because because that actually was won by one of the guys that actually lived right near me.
Oh yeah. I remember that now. Yeah. Yep. I remember. Yeah, that one was huge because that one went for more than I've ever had an auction go for in my life.
Yeah.
I could see why.
And they were fighting.
They were. Yeah, it was nasty. It was nasty. It was. And that was. Yeah. Again, I was kind of like, oh, it was one of those weird days where I didn't have any gas left in the tank, and I think I'd actually texted Eric and said, "Man, I'm tired. Like, I don't think I can do it. Like, I don't really have any ideas. You got any ideas?" And he's like, "Well, you can always show Ronan fighting the new shredder." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess I could. Yeah." And I just kind of was like, "All right, yeah." And then I don't know why, but I said, "Well, I might as well do it gigantic." And I
go big or go home. Why not?
And then I got my red paint out. No, hold on. I did that one, I think, on red paper. That's what the secret was.
Yeah, it was red paper.
That's right.
It was red paper.
I remember now. Yeah. Those things come and go out of my life so quickly.
Yeah, I imagine.
They're created live, and then, next thing you know, they're gone. And it's funny. It's like that. You guys, I think we chatted about it before, the Jason versus the Turtles piece, the Jason Voorhees.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I see
hanging in my kid's room.
Well, and you guys always give me a shout out, like if someone posts it without crediting me. Like I always see Eric jump in, like.
Oh, hey, I'm on that, man. I'm on that.
That's Mike Rooth's piece. But what blows my mind is I'll sit and I'll I'll do the one thing you should never do if you're an artist in the 21st century is you should never read the comments because, you know, people are just speaking from the heart, but whatever. It's the conversations around how that would never happen. Leo would have chopped his head off and that's it. It's just,
I remember.
Leo would have just chopped his head off. But the thing that blows my mind is the guy's like, well, first of all, Leo wouldn't have stabbed Jason because a katana is not a stabbing weapon. It's a slashing weapon. So, you know, the fact that he stabbed both of his katanas through makes no sense. And he would have just probably taken off one of the legs and then taken off the head, you know, chop suey style, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, you know,
comics, you're going into a rabbit hole.
I put this thing together in 3 hours with the camera on me. I had no plan and no time for a plan. I had to get it finished in 3 hours because it was being auctioned at the end of that show live. I didn't have any choice. Didn't think of some of the other criticism was like, why is Jason 10 feet tall? Well, sorry, guys. It was drawn real quick. You know, how come the turtles are too tall? That would never happen. There's no way that Jason would ever get the drop on Leo like that. There's no way that.
Yeah. Man, I'm sitting here looking at it right now, and I'm just like,
I'm just kind of like, guys, you know,
way too serious.
One guy was like, "What does Jason have to do with the Ninja Turtles?" I responded, nothing at all.
Nothing, no,
not a damn thing.
I mean, there's a precedent for it too, because this, like in that 2012 series, there was a character called the Creep who was basically kind of a Jason or a Mike Myers the Shape stand-in, and he was made of like grass and stuff, and he took over. Raphael made him all grass, but he was basically Jason wearing the overalls, and you know, you hear the
yeah,
you know, so. Yeah, it's a thing. Like they found a way to bring Camp Crystal Lake to the Turtles. So it's, you know, if you want to like push up your glasses and go, actually, you know,
I just thought like the whole stabbing versus slashing weapon. And I'm like, listen, man, don't think you would know with all the training in the world and all the dedication and calm mind in the world. Don't think for a second you would know what to do if you came face to face with the undead. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'll defer that question to Hugh Rookwood, and he'll explain it, you know, dojo style. So
I'm so glad you guys had Hugh on the show. Hugh is one of my favorite people, and I'm so.
I can see why, man.
Hugh is awesome.
I'm so glad that he got to New York this year and got to meet all those Randy and Sibo and all those Bish kids too, man.
Yeah, now he knows that he needs to go to Granite next year, and
Eric got him in on talking about Wu-Tang Clan afterwards. So
oh yeah,
he was going on like, I'm like, wow, he knows his stuff.
You can talk to Hugh about anything, man. You can talk to Hugh about anything. He's literally just one of the best people I've ever met.
He's awesome.
You know, like Sibo was like, oh, I want to get you down next year, and I want to get Hugh, and he's like, is Hugh a good guy? And I'm like, listen. I said, Hugh is twice my size and 10 times the charm. I said, bring him down. Your people down here are going to love him. The fans of this show are going to love him. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm not worried about Ben Bishop taking my belt. I'm worried about Hugh. You know what I mean?
You know what? In all honesty, I could see that. So
yeah, the reason why is because Hugh is quick. I mean, when the coaster night was happening, I just so happened I got you. But Hugh went through 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's nuts.
At least 1 or 2 more than everyone else on the show. He really
absolutely. He's making his money.
He's quick as hell, man. He's quick as hell.
He is.
But what's also quick about his stuff is he's fearless too. He's completely fearless. So like, you know, you got a beer coaster and someone, you know, you'll get these sneaky customers that want to sneak 2 characters on there instead of 1. Like, you know, I'm going to do a nice headshot, nice little piece, you know, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, Hugh is going to put 2 characters in there, but he's also going to put a skyline in there. He might throw like an airplane in the sky. You know what I mean? Like he might just fill up that space with environment so that your eye doesn't know where to rest, you know?
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
That's my Kirby that he did.
That's brilliant, man. That's brilliant. I feel like I sent your coaster, Eric. You might show up soon. I feel like let me just double check. I feel like I sent it though. Hang on a minute.
That's
the cool thing about now doing a visual version of this is that you get to see some of the cool stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Where like
I got a coaster of Rooth, but it's in a picture frame right now with one of his obscurities that he gave me.
I hope it's a Muppet.
Who, mine?
Yeah. Is yours a Muppet?
No, it's a Ronin. It's actually a one that I won on a auction that he had on there on tags.
Yeah,
oh, cool.
So
I feel like I mailed yours, Eric. I was gonna wait and mail it with your Dodge stuff, but I think
I got Dodge. I didn't know you were mailing the Dodge stuff too.
Oh yeah, I'm mailing you Dodge stuff, man.
Oh,
it's coming out, man. You got to read them.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought Matt was mailing out the
you know
Dodge
what?
stuff.
Actually, yeah, you know what? That might be the case. Actually, Matt was going to be handling most of the U.S. orders. I was going to be sending out anyone who had who wanted the blank covers and everyone in Canada and anyone who had an art reward.
Yeah,
that was okay. So you might get yours sooner than later, then, man.
Yeah. Because to be honest with you, the next time you guys do a Kickstarter, I'm going to be doing the higher tiers for it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
I wanted to get all three of them first. That was like my biggest thing, is because I haven't had it, but I already know it's going to be good. I'm very, very interested in it.
Did you guys get your PDFs though? You got the PDF, I think.
I think it comes with the PDF, but I'm not big on the PDFs. I'd rather
wait for the physical copy.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the physical copy because I'd rather see it in hand.
I have to check for mine actually. Now that you say that, because
I feel like I think everyone who pledged got the PDF, but I know like we released it for the digital backers as soon as we had it in our hands. But I think everyone gets. I'm pretty sure everyone who pledges at any level gets the PDF. So yeah, check your messages or your Dodge mail and see.
Does this ever go on like Comicology? Like down the road, does it go there, or is it still exclusive?
I think so, man. Yeah, it's one of those funny things where when you want to get a book published with a publisher, you have to kind of have 3 issues in the bag before they'll even really look at you. Ideally, you'd like to have 6 in the bag so that if they do pick up and run with it, then you've got some time to get 7 through 9 done while people are reading the story. In the case of Dodge, the plan was always to get the first 3 issues done back in 2018. And because it was a 4-issue series. Now, had we done that, that would have been a much smaller gap between Retcon and Dodge. So it would have been a little bit more of a tighter continuity in that way. But due to all kinds of different circumstances, the production on Dodge, we got first issue done in about 4 months, but then the second issue took me about a whole year to do. And then the third issue took about a year as well. Just, COVID and everything else, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's been a grind, but now we have 3 issues complete in our hands, in the flesh. So now it's hard to say. We could pitch that to other people. We had a home, I believe from the jump, Dodge has been kind of greenlit from Image because it is the sequel or a prequel to Retcon. However, I think because of the long delay, that may not be the deal, but I don't know how all that stuff works. I'm just the guy that.
Well, Image has changed a lot too in that time.
They have, and the truth is, all the companies have changed a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of turnover and a lot of management changing, and
they unionized actually. So it's weird. Like they had this whole thing, and now I think they get to vote on the content of what they produce, something along those lines.
That's pretty cool. Yeah,
if the company doesn't believe in it, and if it's and this is all kind of like post Comicsgate sort of thing, because that's like really died down, where it's like, oh, we don't care, just do it now. So
yeah.
Hi, this is Adam, a.k.a. Casey Jones from Casey Jones Livewire, and you're listening to Epic Tales from the Sewers. Time for a knuckle sandwich, punk.
No, that's
cool. Image is still. I mean, they're still pumping out some good stuff, and like Ice Cream Man and Saga, and like I love Saga.
Saga is wonderful. Yeah, Department of Truth is fantastic.
Department of Truth. Yep.
Yeah, they got some great books, man. Really great books.
And who's the other one that's doing? Someone's Killing the Children. Is that Boom Studios?
Yeah, Boom Studios.
That's another good up and coming company. Aftershock.
Aftershock, and Aftershock's had a major change up too. Mike Marge just left. He was the founder. He just left, and now it's funny. Like when you work as an artist in the business, you always try to keep track of where your editors are going.
Mm-hmm.
Are always leaving one company, going to another company, and your editor is your lifeline to the business. As an artist, you get good with an editor, you get someone you can work with, someone that you can read each other's language very well. You want to always stick with those people, and if they move to another company, well, I want to go to that company too, and just keep an attachment there. So it's part of that whole networking business in the comics, but editor that I work with at Dynamite is now over at Aftershock, and the guy at Aftershock that I was working with has gone somewhere else. So as their world expands, hopefully mine will too. Somewhat.
Like, hey, I'm gonna call my buddy Mike.
Yeah, I know.
I just try to always leave a good impression, because you never know the guy who I always, even if I hate the job, even if I hate the creator I'm working with, even if I hate the whatever insert circumstance here, even if it's not ideal in every way, you still do your best work, and you still try to leave the best impression, because that person that you're working with right now could be your boss tomorrow, or that person that you helped get published, or that person that you gave a leg up and then help them reach an opportunity that they may not have otherwise reached. The hope is that they'll return the favor one day, or that maybe they'll end up as an editor of a magazine that needs just your illustrations in it.
Pay it forward.
You build a relationship out of ladders that all go hopefully someplace good.
Yeah.
There's snakes on that board too. There's snakes on that.
Of course. Yeah.
It can be amazing how long the snakes can be sometimes. But it can be amazing how quick the ladders can be sometimes too. So it's an amazing business to be a part of, but I just always try to leave a smile everywhere I go if I can, and try to get my work done a little bit early if I can, and try to beat my own expectation on the work if I can. I don't always do that, but I try to. That's all you can do. build it, and build it, like building a fire,
So speaking of building to something, have you heard anything about doing any variants for the Lost Years?
Man, I would love to. I have heard. One thing I know is, unfortunately, I think the minimum numbers for the print run for variant covers have been set extremely high, which means your average small retailer simply can't afford to do that variant cover. So I think, unfortunately, for Lost Years, you're only going to see maybe some of the very, very big retailers handling variants for that book. It was a heartbreaker for me, because I actually had all 8 covers lined up for the Armageddon game series. It was right when I got sick, though. And I was also doing a 132. The 132 was due a week before Armageddon 1, and then it was just going to be the next 8 months of my life doing covers for the Armageddon game run. And I got sick, and I didn't know what kind of shape I'd be in. I was so sick at one point, I didn't know how much longer I'd be here. And I just wanted to, didn't want to, put Justin on the hook for 8 books. You know what I mean? Eight series. The plan was to do an 8 connecting covers run, which would have been pretty awesome. But it just didn't work out. And
did you have like a rough sketch of what it was going to be?
I had an idea. I wanted to have each cover, the first 4 covers, first 5 covers feature one of the turtles in a close-up, but it was going to be like, I had kind of done like a topographical map again of like what this whole thing would look like. And yeah, I had some key elements that I was going to make as a feature for each cover. They weren't all fully realized. A lot of just stick man kind of stuff, but I had an idea, and they were going to be cool. But it just didn't work out. And then I was like, that's okay. I know there's going to be a sequel for Ronin. I got this feeling in my gut. So it's going to be a prequel or something. I just had an instinct. And then sure enough, I found out that it was coming. And then I was heartbroken to learn that the retailers that I had been working with weren't going to be doing that because it simply wasn't viable. The cost is just so high. So as far as I understand it, not even Kevin Eastman or Ben Bishop are doing one either because
really
for the same reasons. I'm not sure why they've done this, but a lot of companies are doing this now too. The minimums for a lot of books have become just outside of the average person's reach.
That's crazy.
So it's going to be companies. I don't want to name names, but it's going to be big stores like Midtown and places like that are probably able to do it without too much risk. But yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky business for sure.
They want to tap in on that variant market that was just like an explosion.
And that's the thing. There was an explosion, and then it sort of felt strange, like the explosion around Ronin was so huge with so many variant covers. And I've worked on a few books at Aftershock, like Baby Teeth was one that had like 93 variants or 33 variants or something.
Yeah, I saw some of those.
I remember at the time thinking that was a big deal. At that time, I think 33 variants was the most that had been done. But then, as years went on, more and more books were doing, like, there was 93 for Ronin 1 or something like that. It was crazy.
It started out at like 72 and it just kept going.
It was nuts. So, and then it was almost like there was suddenly just too many variants or something because what we found were some variants weren't selling. Like books that were really hot, books that were like going into first and second and third printings within shortly after coming out, sold out at the distributor level, sold out at the comic book stores. But a lot of retailers still had their variants. Some of them still had all 300 copies still, wondering what's going on. How come this book is sold out everywhere, but I still got all my variants?
Because the regular covers were that good.
Well, and there's that, and there's also just the cost of doing the business of the variant covers, man. It's a massive cost. It's a massive cost to the collector too. Like, I look at
way too much on
there. I mean, there's guys out there that have all 93 issue ones of Ronin. I'm like, man, that's crazy. That's like just the quick math on that is a crazy number.
Yeah, I know one guy. I'm not going to mention his name, but let's just say it's over $40K worth in 2 years of getting all these covers.
And you're seeing a lot of buyer's remorse right now too, since you're getting caught up in it. So that's what people like myself like to hang out and be like, you know what? I had the hardest time finding this damn Jason Flowers cover. Then I can finally go in and get it. And I found it for $90. I'm like, yes, son of I got it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's strange. Like I found as soon as issue 5 came out, as soon as everyone got the copies of their books, I saw people just like unleashing their whole collections for sale.
It's a dump. Yeah,
everybody was trying to dump, and to be honest with you, the market just went like this.
Yeah, and then so we're watching this happen, and then I'm thinking, the lost years, how well is that going to be received if people are already?
But see, that's also getting pushed back too now. That's getting pushed back until January.
We knew it was going to be though.
I mean that's just a given.
But it still makes you wonder, like if you look at the bigger picture, like if people are, I mean, Ronin, like I'll be honest, Ronin got to the finish line, like I feel like on a wish and a prayer because of the amount of delays in between issues that really could have, if it wasn't for the power of the love of the Turtles.
Yeah. And
you guys know what I'm talking about. If it wasn't for that unbreakable fandom that was going to just wait. We're just going to wait. It's going to be fine. We're going to wait. Okay, issue 2 is out. Okay, boom. Okay, we're going to wait for number 3 now. We're going to wait. Oh, it's been delayed. We're going to wait.
Like 2 years, right?
You have to wait. Of course you're going to wait. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It's going to be worth the wait. But not everyone operates that way. And if it wasn't for the existing fandom of the TMNT universe, I don't think that any other book would have survived such delays. Or they would have had a hard time. I mean, if Spider-Man ran into that kind of issue or Batman ran into that kind of issue, there'd be riots. You'd think, right? There wouldn't be, of course, but people would just wait because those characters bring their own magic, and people will just wait for them. If they have
I love that you mentioned Batman, because that is exactly what happened with a book that Jeff Johns and Gary Frank were doing called The Doomsday Clock. And it's amazing. And like, it's when you get the Watchmen teaming up with Batman and Superman and Firestorm and all that, and it's like, okay, this looks like the Watchmen, because Gary Frank's art is amazing and it looks like, you know, Dave Gibbons. And it just took so long.
Yeah.
And I think Gary Frank like got off of Twitter. He's like, don't ask me why the book is late and all that, you know, just, and I mean, the books were 6 months late every month. And I mean, I was doing reviews for a company called Comic Watch at the time. And it's like, we started doing the first issue. Then like 2 years later, I'm out of the review business. I'm like, holy crap, we're only on the 4th issue. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, I mean, it is a tough business, and you know, there's always the unforeseen stuff, and I'm sure COVID, the supply lines and all these, and the labor supply lines especially, I'm sure all these things slow down. You know,
if you read it as a trade, the story's amazing.
Oh,
the art's amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a good book. You know,
nice. It's perfect. Yeah.
But so many people are soured on it. They're like, "Oh, that book sucked." I'm like, it really didn't. It just like the delays sucked.
I liked it. There was some, like, I'm not going to say it was perfect, but there was
what is though?
I had issues with for small things, like the one conversation. Who was I having a conversation with the other day?
I think they did the best Rorschach though. Like that Rorschach for me is like, he was awesome.
Oh yeah, I was actually thinking of The Last Ronin as a collective.
Oh, yeah.
How it reads, it really holds together well as a story. I thought people were I haven't heard anyone crap too much on The Last Ronin, but yeah, I remember that Doomsday Clock. Yeah, there was some. I mean, for me,
and now we know too why they left gaps. So
yeah,
it's like, okay,
this is it. It's one of those things, though, as a fan, you know, I mean, I've been waiting. I'm not gonna lie. I've been waiting since 1993 for the cliffhanger ending of Miracle Man.
Oh wow!
If you've never read Miracle Man, it ends. It's first of all, it's my favorite Alan Moore work. It's I'm a big Swamp Thing guy, but I still like Miracle Man more than the Swamp Thing work. I do something about the story that's very special. And it goes through massive changes, and then eventually Alan Moore jumps off and Neil Gaiman picks up the reins and carries it through to the end. The end. So it was supposed to be like 24, 25 issues. It made it to issue 23. The end of issue 23, the last page, has the most brutal, savage cliffhanger question of an ending. And then nothing happened. They never finished it. Apparently the book was drawn and finished. Apparently it was finished ages ago.
Wow.
But at the time, Eclipse was bought by somebody else, so there was some kind of rights issue or some kind of thing caused it to not be finished. Todd McFarlane ended up buying Eclipse Comics. He ended up buying the character Miracle Man, did a piss poor job of botching the hell out of that character for a while until he just became buried and forgotten. And then many years later, Marvel got the rights to Miracle Man and said, let's release them all again. And as a fan of the character, I was like, I'm going to buy them all again. And they went through all the old black and white, almost painful to read old stuff, like the old Shazam family era stuff from the 60s up until like the 80s, the reboot with Alan Moore's reboot. And every issue, it was more exciting. And they had Joe Quesada came in and did some stuff. And Grant Morrison was doing something involved with the Miracle Man. And some new material was being drawn. But they were only little 2-page snippets, 3-page teasers. All the way, you kept on buying every month. And you get to issue 21. And you get to 22 and 23. And you're finally going to get the cliffhanger ending. And then Marvel canceled the series at 23. Again.
I think it's back.
I know it's back.
Okay, all right.
I'm not going to believe it until the books are in.
All right. Okay, that's
because I've been once bitten, twice shy. I've been twice bitten now.
Yeah.
I can't believe that was actually the turning point for me as a Marvel fan. I was so angry that they had promised this big final delivery of the Miracle Man story, and then they ended it in the exact same friggin' spot. It was like 2 years of collecting and getting excited again just to have the rug pulled out again.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
I hate it when they break your heart like that.
Savage. I don't think I've bought a Marvel comic since, except for blank covers to draw on.
I am an avid Daredevil collector, and I have like every Daredevil since 1987. So, and it's not even like my favorite book. I just Daredevil's never bad to read.
I bought that one like little Lee Weeks, the Daredevil short story about where he's having a heart attack and it's snowing. I think it was like a one shot, or it was like a 3 or 4 issue thing that Lee Weeks wrote, and I think he wrote it and drew it. But the whole thing is Matt Murdock is having a heart attack, and it's in the snow, and he's got to save a little girl. And anyway, it was an awesome story, but I only think of that because I did read that. I did buy that because I saw the Lee Weeks art, and I was like, okay, I'm buying that. But I've really been mad at Marvel Comics. I've been mad at Marvel Comics since they brought the Red Hulk in. I have my reasons, but I've been mad at them, really mad at them since Miracle Man, because that was just such a slap in the face. So
That's
now
totally
I hope they deliver on their promise now.
So then, do you watch stuff like Werewolf by Night? Do you watch stuff like She-Hulk, like all that kind of stuff?
I haven't seen a lot of them. I haven't seen Moon Knight. I think I saw the first half of Shang-Chi on the plane. I don't think I got to finish the end of that one.
That was probably my favorite that they've made in a long time.
Really?
I think, yeah, I like that one a lot.
Like that I saw. I watched She-Hulk. I enjoyed that. I'm not sure. Is that one over now for now?
I think this Thursday is the last one.
Oh, this Thursday? Okay. Yep. And I watched Werewolf by Night last night.
I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't have super high expectations. I'm like, show me Man-Thing and show me a werewolf. I'm like, I'm good.
That was nice. The Man-Thing was nice. Yeah. I will say I fell asleep twice, though. It's only 55 hours.
I did hear it was a slow burn. You know.
I was exhausted, though, so I'm like, it's not the show's fault. It might have just been a bad day, so I'm going to watch it again during the daylight hours. And see. It was a slow burn. Yeah. I will sit through it again. I liked the casting for the most part.
Yeah.
I love Elsa Bloodstone. She's one of my favorite characters, so I don't know that she's the perfect cast for that character, but the Elsa Bloodstone in my head can't be.
She's not redhead, so that's different. And
part of it, yeah.
I do like that actress on that show, The Nevers, though. So I was familiar with her, and my wife to be points out how that's Jamie's sister from Outlander. I'm like, okay.
Right, okay, yeah, right. Okay, I thought she looked familiar. That makes sense. Yeah, Jamie's sister, of course.
Yeah, I said that, dear. Thank you. The peanut gallery. Yeah, she loves when we talk about Outlander on a Turtles show. So.
I love that.
There's a crossover for you. Turtles in Time, but it's Outlander crossover, so they get to go back. Yeah. Oh, she's in. She said. That's just fantastic.
Keeper.
So let's see. We talked about the Lost Years. We talked about Armageddon Game. I mean, I would have loved to have seen a connecting cover because I think it's been a while since we've seen one.
Yeah.
Turtles are crossing over again with the Power Rangers.
Yes.
That's another kind of cool thing. Do you are you excited by these crossovers coming up?
Well, you know what? Anything that's going to give work to other artists and other opportunities is good for me. Like I always feel like it's what's good for one of us is good for all of us. So if the Turtles seem like a very busy property right now.
Oh yeah,
all kinds of Turtles monthly books out, and I think that's great. But I think it also, in terms of the variant market, it makes it a tricky thing to navigate. From the making end of things, just in terms of what to go with and what not to go with. I saw someone today post a connecting TMNT 132 with Armageddon Game 1.
Oh,
so if I had thought about that would have been something to connect with that, because it's all the stories connected. So that would have been a good one to do. I hadn't thought of that, so I saw that today. I thought that was pretty clever.
I'm loving the story so far, and like the inclusion of Jenica and I know she was somewhat controversial, but Venus and all that, and it's like when you get to who she is and how she was created and all that, it's like she's not actually the sixth turtle, So it's kind of interesting. So it's like,
yeah,
it's a punk frog that's not actually a turtle. All right, cool. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
it's pretty interesting.
It's they're doing some amazing stuff. That was another cool thing. I got to meet Tom Waltz at the Granite State, which is really cool.
That's a dream for me, just so I could pick that man's brain about like, like how do you yeah.
I had the belt on my shoulder, so I probably just looked like a weird fanboy, at his table. But I brought a couple of my variants, and I was just like, "Would you sign these for me?" And he was like, "Sure." And I'm like, "Those are my covers, by the way." And he was like, "Oh, what? Oh, hey!" And then he knew who I was at that point. So
that's cool. He's probably another huge Motorhead fan. I've seen him. He's always ripping up some Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he got Maiden last week, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I'm hoping to get to chat with him some more.
Geez, we should get all you guys like we'll get you and Freddie on at the same time, and we'll get. I should do that next time if we get Freddie back on.
Oh, sure, man. Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
You guys could just talk about like art supplies and like what do you use, and we'll just be like sitting there like, oh, this is awesome.
I'm just going to sit here, just enjoy the show, just let you guys run it.
I just think it's funny because Mike had said that he wanted to be two things, either an artist or a wrestler, and I'm like, I was a much better wrestler than I was artist.
Yes, same here.
I was a terrible wrestler. I wanted to be good. I was terrible. Terrible in high school. Terrible. It wasn't what I wanted. I wasn't going to be an athlete. It was very clear in the early years of my in my 20s. It was like, okay, that was probably a misaligned dream. But we can pick up our pencils and we can still keep on working with paper and draw yourself as a world champion. There you go.
There's a lot of comics out now about wrestling. I met like 3 or 4 of these guys in Chicago, and they're doing these like on the road comics and all that.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. There's a lot of my friend Andy Belanger actually he does a comic called Mother Trucker, which indie
It's
comic.
a cool name.
And he actually became a pro wrestler. He actually, I think he started training when he was like 35. He's about 40 now, I think. He's been training as a pro wrestler because he wanted to write a comic book about this Mother Trucker comic book, which is about wrestlers who wrestle, but their trucks are part of their ring. Like their trucks transform into their ring environment, and then they like fly from planet to planet and challenge other space truckers basically to wrestling matches.
Wow!
But he wanted, to feel, even though it's such a fantastical, crazy story, for him to feel authentic about it, he decided he wanted to learn the business and became a pro wrestler. So now he's Bob the Animal Anger, and he wrestles out of Montreal. And,
that's amazing.
He's got a mask and a gimmick, and he's won championships, and the guy is just having a blast, man. And it's all in the pursuit of making his comic book more authentic, which I just
wow.
I just think that's incredible. But yeah, there is a beautiful new series, it seems, of wrestling comics coming out, a new wave.
It's a whole genre, and it's not like hokey. It's not like, here's Ric Flair, here's his life story, here's him winning the WCW belt. It's not like that.
Yeah, Duo Powerbomb is unbelievable. That comic book is crazy.
Powerbomb, right?
Yeah. The first issue blew my mind. And I love the gripping family tragedy of it all. Like it's got this really like, whoa, heavy story. I picked up one the other day. A buddy of mine actually got it for me, called Hell is a Squared Circle, which is the prestige format size from Aftershock, which looks really interesting too. And it's really weird because wrestling comics always weirdly have struggled to survive in the market, which always felt weird to me because to me, wrestling and comics really walk hand in hand.
I think they assumed that they were not readers.
Sorry?
I think they assumed that wrestling fans were not readers.
Maybe, yeah. But, I just think about some of the books that they had. Like they had like an Undertaker comic book and Mankind comic book.
Well, I've got the Mankind signed by Mick Foley. So
Road Warrior
Chaos Comics, man.
Yeah, Chaos Comics. That's right. Yeah. But they just didn't have the grip they could have had.
Yeah.
And like the comics that came before that, WCW tried to do their own line of comics for a while. They had the amazing Ron Wilson. drawing the comics. I love that guy's work. He's a huge wrestling fan. He used to draw the Marvel 2-in-1 comics when I was a kid. And he draws.
Okay.
Like no one else. He's my favorite thing artist.
That's pretty much what I think of when I think of 2-in-1s. It's usually like, oh, this is Thing and someone else.
Yeah, that's what they were pretty much every issue, right? So yeah, but yeah, he drew some WCW wrestling comics back in the day, and I mean they were kind of terrible, but they were amazing. Like a whole comic book that's just Ron Simmons versus Cactus Jack.
Nice.
It's just a comic book, blow by blow. Like what the hell? Like that's amazing, you know. Anyway, so he did some, but they never really, took off like they could have, I felt. So it's really cool to see the stories that are happening now, but they always seem to have a little bit more of a supernatural edge to kind of really gather in those comic book fans.
Yeah, I see that.
There's one called Thunderbolt Holt, which I have done artwork for, variant cover artwork for, which hasn't seen the light of day. It's been pitched to a lot of different companies, and the story is fantastic. I love it. Just a fantastic story. It's kind of a spoof on a guy like a Ric Flair type guy who's achieved such great, incredible. He's done everything he can do in the world of pro wrestling, and then he gets captured by an alien ship because they think he's a warrior. You know what I mean? And then he has to go and wrestle all around the universe and stuff.
Oh my God, that's like Flash Gordon, right?
It's amazing.
But Flash Gordon's probably more legitimate as a football player, right?
It's gold, and I don't know why. It's one of those things. It's like, why isn't someone turned this into a cartoon or something?
There's so many great ideas out there.
No. Yeah, we're swimming in them, and that's the competitive aspect of comics. It's so difficult. It's like I said, I've been working on Dodge since 2018. We got 3 issues done. We're going to have a 4th issue done this winter because it's getting done this winter, and and then we're going to have a finished story that then maybe we can shop to. Maybe we can take that to Image and say, okay, let's make a graphic novel now. Let's go to, try it at Boom. We'll try it at some places because I mean it's solid. And when it comes time to doing the 4 issues, I'll probably go back in and remaster some stuff, like tidy up some pages, make some stuff that could have been more dynamic or more exciting. Do that final.
Maybe a show.
Yeah.
Well, there's good publishers out there, and like the independent publishers and all that right now, and that's where a lot of my interest is, like the books from Source Point and Aftershock and Boom and IDW, like all of these, and a lot of them are getting away from some of the stuff that they were in and just going completely independent. Like I don't know if you've ever read Ice Cream Man, but that is crazy, cuckoo nuts stuff.
It's brilliant, man.
And like, what is this? It's some sort of mind-bending horror.
I did that cover for issue 25. No, what issue was it? 13? Can't remember what issue it was.
Oh, I didn't know you did an Ice Cream Man.
Yeah, for Big Country.
That's fantastic.
And the comic was, it couldn't have been that high. I think it might have been issue like 9 or something. I can't remember.
I'm gonna go look it up.
Yeah, it'll be on the Big Country page anyway. But
oh, cool.
The story is about a man who's in a plane that's crashing, and he's the only one that knows it's crashing, and he's the only one that cares that it's crashing.
I saw a Twilight Zone like that,
and it's like you're reading the comic and it's riveting because you're like, "Fuck!" Like this is
like what's gonna happen?
Like
that does remind me of Mallrats, though.
It's
there's some things you just don't ask.
I know. I love the format of that comic book, though. I love that it's kind of like it's almost got like a creep show kind of vibe. It just kind of the concept and then lets you run with and play with the concept. Then it gets a little bit weird. You know what I mean? Which is okay because
it's not as silly as Tales from the Crypt, and it's not as like sci-fi as like an Outer Limits. So I think Creep Show is a good Creep Show 2 to this day is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. With that moss that came out, I don't know what to tell you about it. It was this guttural thing, and it just scares me.
Left an impression, right? I mean, it's
absolutely.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I there was something about the Thriller video, Michael Jackson's Thriller video. When I saw
it is a legit scary video.
When I was 8 years old, there was a couple things that I just could not abide. I had to run the other room. Love the song, love the werewolf bit, but there was some zombie stuff. I just my 8-year-old brain couldn't handle. So
those sucked in eyes and all that, like the cheekbones and stuff like that.
Oh it was just a triumph, that whole video. But there was some. All depends, I think, when you're aware of fear, and it leaves an impression on you.
Yeah, it's not on there. It's not on there anymore. You might not have anymore.
Oh yeah, it might be gone.
But I do remember seeing it on there, but I couldn't remember which one it was.
I had him riding a ice cream cone like what's that character from
Slim Pickens?
Yeah, Slim Pickens.
Okay.
He's got the hat off and he's riding only instead of a rocket, it's an ice cream cone. So
that's cool.
It was kind of fun. Yeah, I loved the cover. It was a lot of fun doing that cover. And the story was just creepy as hell. It was great.
Yeah, I like
25.
Number 25 it was?
25. I thought it was. Okay, yep. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that was good fun.
That's neat too to get to go back and remember that stuff, because like you said, this stuff is like in and out of your life,
Oh yeah.
You may not remember like, oh, I did a cover for this, but
it's weird. I was going like when I was putting together Dodge and stuff, and then going through my computer and finding old files, like finding old sketchbook collections I had made for shows like back in 2014, 2013, 2015, like just little collections of whatever commissions I did that year, whatever made it into the sketchbook. And I only could, back in those days, like, could only afford to like print 25, copies of stuff like that back then. And I don't have any physical copies left. So it's kind of funny, but yeah, it's neat.
You find like weird characters. You're like, oh wow, I can't believe I did that character.
Oh yeah, I had so many things that I developed that I just still have so many things that are developed that just never got the time and attention they need. I had a comic book with my wife that we were working on called Widow's Wake, which was a Viking horror story. And it really, where that one went wrong was we had a very cool little 8-page story that was like a little horror movie trailer. We really should have just released it in that format, little 8-page teaser of a book. But, when you start looking into the cost of printing and stuff, and you start to realize, well, if we're going to print a book for 8 pages, we might as well flesh it out and make it 12. Well, how much can we sell a 12-page book for? Well, maybe we should just make it a full-size book. And then you start all of a sudden having to expand out and build a world around and create padding and cushioning for a part of a story that you want to tell, which is important, but you need to flesh out all these pages or extend the scenes and make them longer. And then all of a sudden nothing's getting done because you've realized you've strayed from the form. You've strayed away from what it should have been, which is just a little snippet of a story that maybe people would have liked and wanted more. And then from there, we could have started building a world around.
So you need to do an anthology book. That's why if you have those and you put it's like Hellboy books, right?
Yeah.
Like the first issue of Hellboy has like 3 Hellboy stories in it, and they're like 2 to 4 pages long each.
Yep.
It's like, oh, Hellboy's here. He's at a gas station. He fights a giant dog. He wins. That's it.
Yeah.
You get a couple of those, then you're good.
That's the thing. And that's, I think, the format we eventually settled on for that was that rather than just tell some big story where we have to have all this history and all these important events that tie it together, why not just tell little stories and let people just kind of figure out what universe is taking place in? Have enough common elements that they can just kind of build their universe themselves. Maybe it becomes a universe that the fan lives in instead. It doesn't really exist, it's just stories in a place.
Yeah, we need more of that.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah. So we've talked about having our own magazine, just doing our own printing imprint anyway, because we live in the age where it's possible. Kickstarter has proven that. And you start to get into the fandom of the Turtles and stuff like that, and now if I can get all the Turtles fans to like Dodge, and I can get a whole other fandom happening there. And I think a character like that would fit well with the TMNT community, in terms of what they like. And
anthropomorphic bears. Yeah.
And I have some stories I want to tell. Like I have a kind of a wrestling story that I want to tell, and I would like to finish Widow's Wake. I'd like to at least start it and actually get I think I redrew more pages than I drew. I draw like the first 3 pages and then get to page 4 and decide like, I don't like the way this guy's helmet looks, but it's on every page, so I have to redraw every page. And so I would just kind of I couldn't get my wheels under me, and it was a stalling tactic because I wasn't 100% congruent with what I wanted the story to be. I was all caught up in what I thought it had to be.
Jeez, I would love to see you tell a Viking story.
Oh man,
I think that come natural.
Yeah,
it's been in development for a while, but it's one of those things where when I started doing it, other people started doing Viking comic books, and they were pretty good. And I was like, I don't know if mine are going to get noticed in the thrust of all these awesome comic books. Like, I love Northlanders. Brian Wood's comic Northlanders at Vertigo was amazing. And then there was also Ivan Brandon's comic book Vikings, which was great. And then there was there's been some Viking stuff.
Ragnarok, which was probably a little while ago.
I loved Ragnarok, and again,
Ragnarok was amazing.
Still in the same kind of area. So yeah, it's definitely, there is a Viking story in me that's going to be told for sure. I have another story. I have a character called Uncouth Rooth that I've had since I was, in high school, and I've been developing him for a long time. And he's been a D&D character. He's been a character in other role-playing games. He's been a character in every wrestling game that allows you to create a wrestler.
Nice.
He's existed in every platform of play that I've been able to create for myself. So I feel like that story's got to get told as well. And that's, once Dodge is completed, I'll have I'm going to maybe take a break from doing interiors, or I'm going to jump right into doing another story. Do something else while I wait for the next script for Dodge, because I think we've got more Dodge stories to tell. We just want to get these 4 issues knocked out and then just see where it takes us.
See, I was wondering about that. Mm-hmm. I was wondering because, you guys are talking about 4 and then it'd be done, and I'm like, there's got to be, with the success that you guys have had, first one, he's always going to start out rough, and now that you guys seen issue 3 and how the Kickstarter just went, you guys started at this point and it was like, okay, this is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And
we've really grown it for sure. And I know the great thing about the Dodge story, the retcon universe, is like I said, if the adversary is not defeated, then it reboots again and we go somewhere else and we do the same story, or the same story components take place in a different world, a different setting. Maybe Dodge will be in this one. Maybe Dodge will be the bad guy. Maybe, you know what I mean? There's like a moving of chess pieces that happens, I think. I'd recommend anyone listening to this, if they want to read something really cool, I believe you can still get it on Comixology. I'm not sure if Matt has them for sale on his website. You might be able to go to mattnixon.com and find them there. But Retcon was collected into a trade paperback at Image Comics. And it's a beautiful, beautiful production. 4 issues, gorgeous book. Amazing story, introduces a lot of big ideas, and introduces Dodge. And Dodge is going to be in a similar, it's different stylistically. There's no way anyone can follow what Toby Cypress is doing. He's got a very unique style that it's just he's like a guy like Temple Smith or a guy like that. They just do their thing, and no one else can do what they do.
He is a riot.
Oh yeah.
By the way, Temple Smith.
Oh yeah. Temple Smith?
Oh my god!
Oh yeah, Ben's a party, man. I love that guy, man.
I think I spent an hour with him in a Chicago show, and he is the funniest, most sarcastic, sort of. I'm like, wow! It's just
he's a savage. I love him.
Yeah, it's really something. Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, you're gonna come over here and buy that?" With his thick accent and all that. You're gonna buy this? No, okay, go on, be going with you. Fuck off. I'm like, man, he was great.
He's really good with his fans. Yeah, he's really good with his fans, and he's fun. He's we've had him here before. We've stayed at his place before. We were at his wedding in 2015.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we drove down to Chicago for his wedding, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah, man. Yeah, he's a guy. I haven't seen him now since 2018, I think. Yeah, I had just finished issue 1 of Dodge last time I saw him. He came up to Hamilton, Ontario for a show, and I visited him at his table for a day, and I think we might have had oysters or something that night. I can't remember. Oysters and whiskey or something like that. It seemed to be a thing.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, but no, Ben's...
As long as you don't get the oysters here, in Chicago area, just... Yeah, I tend to avoid them here. I'll go out New Hampshire way,
sure, yeah,
maybe not New Hampshire so much, but Massachusetts or anything.
Yeah, you're in Chicago.
I am. I'm in the Chicago area, so.
Oh, cool! Right on. I love Chicago, man. I actually applied to C2E2 this year. I hope I get in. I'd love to go if I get in. It's never a guarantee, but yeah, it's a great show. It's one of my favorite artist alleys, if not maybe the best artist alley.
It's such a comic. It's such a comic centric audience there because it is like pop culture too, but it's so comic themed. And it's like people are there for comic artists. It's really cool. Yeah,
it really is a unique artist alley experience for sure. For the fan and for they also give you so much space, like to get there and have an 8-foot table. But what I love about the McCormick place is when you're setting up, you drive your vehicle right to your table. Like you're driving through Artist Alley in your car to get to your table to load your table, and then you drive away. I've never been to a venue that size before.
It's utterly impressive, and it's funny because it like connects to Soldiers Field. Yeah. You know, for like the Bears fans and stuff like that. The Bears are still playing here technically.
Place is massive. It's just massive.
It's so. I've never seen so many human beings in one place at one time as the C2E2 in like 2020. The one I was mentioning with Jim Lee. I've never. It's insane.
The last Comic-Con.
It kind of was. Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Jeez, I wonder if there's going to be a documentary on that at some point.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. It was the last one, and I remember, people coming back from that sick.
Yep.
And I was wondering, like, was this the first of its, the first super spreader event or whatever? But I remember not going.
I think it was Comic Crud, which is or Con Crud.
Con Crud, which I've been able to avoid. Thankfully, don't know how. Knock on wood, I've been able to avoid that so far.
We got to keep you healthy, man.
For sure.
We're going to be sending you some vitamin C packets.
Yeah, right.
I've had some major health changes for sure to adjust to COVID, having had COVID, and then everything that happened after that as well. Yeah, there's daily effort is being made. I promise you, it's
good. You got to take care of yourself, man.
It was a triumph to see you using that positive COVID test to draw something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was fun. I actually got some pretty good lines out of that thing. I was kind of impressed by it. But
man, it's marvelous. Like it's so easy talking to you. I love it. I mean, we're just about at the 2-hour mark, so we'll. I know, right? Like it's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what? If you guys want to go a minute or two in overtime, I'll do a quick sketch for you.
Yeah, of course.
If you want.
Yeah, no, I don't mind. I just
here. We'll see if I can get. Oh, no, that's my settings. Hold on now. This is where Mike tries to figure out how to use his computer.
And I'll hit you with a question. In the meantime,
sure.
since you've got Usagi Yojimbo here, with Usagi going from IDW to back to Dark Horse where it originally was, does that affect you at all in terms of like getting covers?
Oh man, well, the truth is, some of my very first work in comics was at Dark Horse, but I'm sure most of those editors that I was working with are gone now. I was working; they may still be there in some capacity. But they might be gone now. So I'm not sure how that would work. I would certainly love to reach out. I was so pumped up after, let's see if I can get this on the screen here. I was so pumped up after Granite that I literally came home and just had to take a day to just stop and reflect about how lucky I was and how fortunate I am to be able to do what I do for a living. And I immediately was just kind of like, the market's in a strange place right now. The whole variant cover business is in a weird place right now. We don't know what's going to work, what we can afford to do, what we can't afford to do. Everything's a risk. Everything's a real challenge. And so I came back and I said, I'm just going to start applying for work. I'm just going to start going right to the publishers. I'm not going to wait around for variant cover jobs. I'm not going to wait around for retailer cover jobs. I'm going to go right to the monster's mouth and say, let me in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I want to do this. And so I did. And I was actually able to make contact with some publishers I had never contacted before. And crazy enough, I heard back from a few of them. I can't say who yet because I don't want to jinx it. Believe me, if anything comes out of the things that I applied for, you guys will know because you'll hear me roar from way up here in Canada.
That's fantastic.
You will hear it where you are. But all you can do is start the conversation and hope for the best, and hope that your reputation and your professional attitude is one that will lead you to better opportunities. And I don't know, man. I was so pumped up after the love I got at Granite. I realized, like, what am I waiting for? Like, I need to get out there and and just take those opportunities, ask for those opportunities. Nothing's going to happen if I just sit here hoping that they're going to knock on my door one day. I've got to go out there and make them happen. And so yeah, I was really lifted by my experience at Granite, and it changed me. And I feel like I'm a different.
Maybe a second breath.
Yeah, really, that's a good way of putting it. I feel like a different person a little bit. I saw people who didn't know me before I got there, who treated me like they're like family. You know what I mean? Treated me like they couldn't wait to hear what's next. Like, I got people just waiting now. They want to get pre-orders on Dodge issue 4. I'm like, guys, I'm still drawing that book. Like, we're a few months away, but like the enthusiasm is incredible. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
My hope is that maybe next year Matt Nixon will join me at the show. Maybe he can come.
That'd be great.
I only say that because, as crazy as it sounds, I've been working with Matt Nixon since 2018 on Dodge. But do you know we've never actually met?
Oh, no way.
We've never actually met. We've been collaborating with these characters since, like, for going to be 5 years come January. And we've never met. We've never even talked on the phone, man. Isn't that wild?
Wow, that is weird.
Isn't that wild? And it was before, like, we started doing this before either of us were really getting into the whole, like, video chat kind of deal, right? So I'm not even sure that's the thing that Matt does, to be honest. But yeah, man. So that's all very interesting, and I feel like it'd be really cool to have him show up at Granite or another show, and we could table together. Oh, sorry, I want to get that on the screen. I feel like it's not even showing up on camera, is it?
It is.
It is a little bit.
I'll show,
we just can't really see like the depth.
The glare, yeah.
Once the ink goes on there, let me see. Maybe is that a little bit better, or is that worse?
Well, as long as you, I don't know yet.
This way, I'll turn the light this way.
I think it's just you got some light lines, is what it is right now.
Yeah, they're just light lines. Maybe
Then I can see like a tad bit of dark.
All right, we'll see if I can get a little bit closer here. All right, now I'm going to use my ink so it'll show up a little bit better.
That now I can really see it now.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I'm not sure where I was going with that.
But I know that you were talking, like he's talking about a scrapbook. Like I know that you've been doing the whole Inktober.
Oh yeah.
It's been all turtles lately, and I'm not even gonna lie. I talked to the guy that last night about. He was like, "Man, I want to get a commission done by him."
Oh yeah,
like, man, you got to stand in line.
Man, that's the other thing. Since Granite, I've had something like 200 new followers on Instagram. And I don't even know that they're Granite people necessarily, but I have to mark the fact that like these people started jumping on after Granite, and it's kind of amazing. So yeah, I noticed that the past 2 weeks. Every time I pick up my phone, there's
something new.
There's like a bunch of new followers. Like it's kind of crazy. So yeah, no, it's all good.
Man, I love that Usagi. He looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, I don't know. I always love that cover, and the one that I'm doing this homage to. Like, I always loved that cover, but I wanted to do something cool to market. So I added a little after Stan Sakai at the bottom because I didn't want anyone to think that I wasn't, trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. Homages can be a tricky thing, you don't want to. You don't want to trample on anyone's stuff, but I always loved that cover. And I wanted to do it with the classic colors with Leo in the red because I just kind of wanted. Like I thought it'd be cool to go to Granite with this thing that like old Turtles fans will know. They'll recognize that old cover, but it'll seem familiar, but it won't be exact. with the red. And yeah, although weird thing was, I thought for sure that I was going to sell out all of these prints at Granite because everyone was like really excited about it and stuff. And I sold 8 of them at the show, which I was still very happy with. Like, I'm not going to ever complain. Like, a sale is a sale. Like, it's amazing. But yeah, I had this funny feeling I was going to sell a lot more, and I didn't. So, well, that's okay. That means I've still got some left over for some other shows, and one of your viewers will get one when I'm finished this today. So,
I was trying to think of the prints that I bought at the show, and one of them was Mr. Simon Bisley. So, so I went over and I said hi, and and man, it was interesting. He was just an interesting character.
Oh, Simon,
larger than life.
Oh yeah,
and just like getting to sit back and watch him interact with like his handlers and his family that was there, and like the fans that come up and all that. And I'm oh my god, he is so punk rock. It's awesome.
I always say, Bisley is like. Bisley makes Lobo look like a Boy Scout. You know what I mean? Like the real Bisley makes Lobo look like a Boy Scout, but then there's elements of Bisley that he's such a sweetheart too. Deep down, he's so good to his fans, and he's such a kind person. And he's when you see him at shows in America, that means he's there with Bob Shaw, who is from Comic Art House. And Bob's one of my favorite people in the world. He's an awesome guy.
Is he a skinny dude?
No, Bob's a beardy guy like me.
I didn't see him then. Okay, I saw
a Bostonian as well. He's
like already.
he's a good cat, man. He's a big Black Sox fan, Red Sox fan. He's a good cat. But yeah, he was there, and so he I think reps Simon at American shows, and also Mark Texiera, and a bunch of other guys too, probably. But yeah, I'd love to be at a show with those guys and just to hang out with Biz and Tex again sometime. The two of them eclipse each other with their danger. They are so like they are two wild dudes, man. Like two big wild dudes. Like. It's so awesome to see them interact with their fans. They're just amazing, just amazing. Sorry, I'm sliding all over the place with this.
No, you're doing great.
I forget that the camera is really good in a couple of spots, but
freaking killer, dude.
Oh, thanks, man.
Just that little amount of time, man, and he's just.
It's just practice, right? Like you get like kind of a memory for it and stuff. But I got to come up with something tonight. I have to do my 11th TMN Tober drawing today after this show. So I'm going to have to, this doesn't count because this has to go, whatever I draw has to go in the book. So yeah, I'll tell everyone who's watching that project that I'm doing right now is my Inktober project. Every year my wife does Inktober, well, her version of Inktober, which she does called Stupid Animal Hybrids, where she will basically do a mixture of animals. Sometimes it's animals and plants. Sometimes it's just different kinds of animals mixed together into one animal. This year she's doing the Horrible House Pets edition. So she's like taking like classic house pets, but then mixing it with an animal that is like just not a good mix. You know what I mean? So she's got some really cool stuff coming for that. And so I was inspired by her doing it every year. It's been a couple of years since I've done the October drawing event, so I decided to do turtles this year. And yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun so far. I'm not sure what I'm going to be pulling out of the tank on this one. I'm not sure. Like I could sit and draw Splinter every single day. Like
I love the Splinter you did.
I could just the whole thing with just Splinter and Usagi all day long because I mean those ones have gotten my biggest response so far. But what I love about Inktober is it gives me a chance to just literally explore different possibilities with ink. And do some sketching like the ballpoint sketches I was doing because
those are freaking crazy.
You know what's fun about them is there's no pencil sketch underneath, so you just kind of have to accept what you do. Like you just kind of have to accept.
Gorgeous.
That is freaking sick, though.
So these are just small, right? These are just little 6x8 pieces. But I want to let everyone know, like especially if the Bish kids or any of those guys, any of the Turtles fans who are watching me do this all month. So these pieces are all going to be for sale, and the idea is I'm going to put them all for sale at the same time out of my shop. And I'm going to do a collected sketchbook with all this artwork in it as well.
Yeah, this is crazy. That Raphael one, I'm just like, oh my god.
Thanks, man.
Like all of them are freaking sick, though, man. Like,
I want to try to outdo myself each day. That's the plan, right? I got to try to start like today's triumph is going to be yesterday. Has to be like yesterday's failure. You know what I mean? I need to keep on moving forward and always doing better and better work. They're not all going to be like that, but I'm going to try. And
dude, why don't you try out like some Tokar and Razor ones? Or
oh yeah, man. No, there's going to be a couple of deep cuts coming. I was actually surprised that I did a Splinter already twice, but there's something about Splinter that just it's like I don't know. It's just he's one of those characters that just feels good to draw. You just feel better after drawing, and you feel like you've actually gained some wisdom, and like he's giving you a message or something. It probably sounds crazy, but there's something about drawing that guy that
I feel that absolutely.
So yeah, that's the plan. And so yeah, so what's going to happen is there's going to be sketchbooks made. I'm probably going to only make 100 of them, to be honest with you. I'm probably going to keep it super limited. I'm going to sign and number them all. I'm actually going to print 101, I think, because we're going to do some special stuff with them. Some of them are going to have a remarque option available. Some of them are going to just be straight up just a regular sketchbook, but everyone who buys one of the 31 original pieces will get a copy of the sketchbook as well as part of the purchase. So it's going to be kind of included with the cost basically. And so the first 31 are going to be signed and earmarked and put aside for the for those first 31 customers, who buy the original art. And they're going to be reasonably priced because, I don't know, man. I'm just feeling good, and I want to give people a chance to buy this. The only problem is...
I want that Raphael.
I have to figure out the best way to release them all at the same time. The last time I did one of these, it was a little bit tricky. It was back in 2019. And the reason it was tricky was because I am just not really skilled on my whole website control. What I had to do was I had to basically disable my shop for the first 10 minutes before my sale launched so that I could go in and launch everything and then basically turn my shop into like non-disabled mode. And then you could refresh the page and then you could go and buy the stuff. But I know there's going to be people who are waiting to buy it as soon as it releases. And I don't know if there's a really fair, good way for me to do that yet. So I've got some time to think about it. I may even do a Whatnot release with it. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't done Whatnot yet, but I've been approved as a seller on Whatnot. So I might try that. I had thought about auctioning the pieces, but some of them, might go crazy really fast. And I don't know. I was kind of seeing these pieces as being in like the 125 to 200 range, like maximum. Like I really don't want to go too crazy on that. There's only 31 pieces. There's not a lot of them. And there's going to be only 100 books. So it'll just be a nice little tidy project that I can kind of work on after I get all my Dodge stuff shipped out this month. Because that's what this month's all about for me. The Dodge books are going to be in the mail in my hands tomorrow. And then I'm just going to be in pure fulfillment mode for the next several weeks, which is fine. But when you're a one-man mailing crew, it's a little bit tricky. It's a lot of work for one person to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I'm one man because I know Matt's covering his end on the state side, but I think I've got about 100 pieces of mail that I got to put out, and that's a lot of work. So that's
I feel bad. I've got a poster I have to send out to Mr. Doss. So.
Oh yeah,
it's coming, Travis. It's coming. I swear.
Oh yeah, right on. Yeah. I have a couple of pieces from Granite that I never got finished. I have a request for a guy who wanted a Robin,
and he did me a big solid. So before I left, so I want to make sure I take care of him. And also, Eric Smith wanted a Krang. He wanted an Android Krang. He's one of the Bish kids.
Yep.
So he's got one of those coming. And I think I took like 1 or 2 little pieces of homework home, which I never do. But again, I was riding so high at Granite that those guys could have talked me into just about anything they wanted me to do. I was feeling really good, just all around. And
you get John asking you about some April projects that you probably should have
Oh God,
down.
let's not get into the April project.
Actually, we just mentioned John. I have one for John. I have an April for John.
I love these guys, all of them. I love watching what they do, what they buy. They're
I know. I love how specific they got. Like I love that. I'm one of those guys too, man. You know, like I one day I'm gonna get to meet like Ron Franz. I'm gonna get him to draw me a Blastar, and it's gonna be the greatest day ever. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
I collect sketches of Blastar and Thundra, and I haven't treated myself to one now in a long time because there's been no Comic-Cons, right? But now that they're coming back,
if you got any at Granite? Did you ask?
No, I didn't get. You know what I did get though? I bought a couple of books. Like I bought Drawing Blood. I bought the Radically Rearranged Ronin Ragdolls. They had only a few copies of those. I picked up a couple of indie books. Bob had some of his stuff there. I picked up some of Bob's stuff. Bob, is it Bob Chasick? Is that how you say his name?
The dog book, right?
Yeah.
Is it Good Boy? I forget.
Yes. I have the little promo book he made around here somewhere. I got a whole pile of Granite swag.
He's doing some great stuff with that. And
oh man, yeah, I'm excited about it, man. He's got some cool stuff coming. He's just a super nice guy too. I'm really happy he's going to be joining us on Tags.
Is he really? Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh man, I don't think I told you guys that. So yeah, spoiler alert. Granite ended up being awesome for so many reasons, but one of the main things was, getting to know Randy. And like Randy's just, you guys know, he's one of the coolest guys there is. But Randy decided to get in touch with Stefan from Tags. And so now we're going to have so many of the Granite dudes are going to be coming on to Tags now.
Yeah, I know, Vance.
We got a bunch. And you know what? Randy was like, listen, you guys don't have enough shows on the roster. You get a couple more shows on the roster, I'll fill them up. I'll find people for every week. So we had to cancel last week due to some technical issues. So so there's going to be a Tags this week, a He-Man themed Tags. But Randy basically said, if you guys go weekly before the end of the year, I'll be able to fill that show every week with artists because we got guys that want to be on the show. And sure enough,
nice.
We are going to be going weekly on Tags.
Wow.
For the winter months. And
I did sign
you're
up
going to see a whole bunch of Turtles artists on this show, man. It's gonna be wicked. I'm super excited. I'm super excited. I was really lamenting the fact that I didn't get to know everybody down there so well. And then when I came back and I saw the Tag schedule, and I was like, oh, these Granite guys are on the Tag schedule. So pretty excited, man. Pretty excited about that. There's gonna be some entertaining stuff coming up soon. So I don't know how well that's showing up on camera there.
That is freaking ridiculous.
There's a Usagi face on there. And yeah.
I love that character.
I don't know how you guys want to raffle it off or what, but if you guys, one of your viewers is interested in this, I'll let you guys sort out those details. But I'll be happy to mail it to whoever wins the prize, man.
Okay, cool.
Definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is that the special yellow paint?
This is the special yellow paint. Yep. I'm gonna add a little bit of red. Yeah, no, the yellow paint was a gimmick that I used to use at sketch battles in Toronto because they didn't very often have or whatever show I was at. I would always do my sketch in black and white ink, but then I would get my bright yellow paint and I would paint the background to punch the character out and kind of cut them out. So you'd have this character and all of a sudden the whole background would just be this glowing field of bright yellow. Well, that means from the back of the room, they can see that drawing because black and yellow is actually weirdly in printing higher contrast than black and white. That's why you'll see a lot of books on the spine of the book at the bookstore will have yellow and black because it's visually more attractive to the eye. That's why a lot of safety stuff and hazard signs are in yellow and black, because the contrast is stronger. So that's why I bring yellow paint to the sketch battles, man.
Yeah, see, I'm like turning my head because I'm trying to like look. I'm looking at it. Now I got to turn upside down.
Yeah. Because I'm on a slanted surface.
That's so crazy, and he did that like in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Well, listen, this is for one of your viewers, but like each of you guys give me a request, and I'll draw these up and send one of them each in the mail for you. I got some stuff heading you guys anyway, but I've got and I think I never sent you your Usagi remarked copy, Justin. I meant to do a Usagi with Leo's sword. Did you get that one? Did I do that? Did I dream about it?
You dreamed about it, I guess.
I dreamed about it. Yeah, probably.
He's got my Asugi book too.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yours is in that batch of books you sent me?
Yeah, I put the Asugi. I put every book that I have of yours. I sent it to you because I'm like, you let me know what the tab is later.
Oh yeah, no sweat, man. Yeah, I meant to get to them like in the last couple of weeks, but to be honest, like,
oh man,
since we got home, I've just been like, I'm gonna go at my own pace here and just kind of let.
I'm not even stressed about it.
Oh no, I know. You guys are cool that way. I know, for sure.
It's like the Looney Tunes
like I said,
background.
You have an obscurity for you too. So whenever you know, that's for you to make some money.
I'm gonna hang on to that for a little while, I think, man, and I'm gonna do something with it special. Like, there we go.
That's awesome.
And I will sign this
crazy, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Whatever you want to put in there, you put it in there, man.
All right, man. How about you, Justin?
If I get to pick, I was gonna pick a Splinter.
A Splinter? Oh yeah, you got it, man. I'll put a Splinter in there for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'll draw whatever you guys like, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, see, I'm for whatever. I don't even care.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, man. I'll draw.
As long as it's turtle related, I'm cool.
Yeah. I got something funny I'm gonna draw on a Usagi remark. One of my Dodge supporters asked for he pledged at the Usagi level, which got him a remarked copy of Usagi included with his copy of Dodge, and he just asked for something turtle related. So I'm going to actually draw another frozen Krang, like clinging onto the back of the little stone gargoyle in the snow, with like an arrow sticking out of one eye. I think it'll be fun. It'll be good.
It's definitely going to be fun.
But
we're doing another in our Facebook group, Epic Shells. Every year, one of the big things that we do is a costume contest. So this year, I've gotten some artists I'm talking to and stuff like that, and we're trying to get some comic sketch covers and all that. I just got one of them in. It's one of the turtles dressed up like Frankenstein. So between that and I've got like a mutagen man, so it's gonna be like a big prize year. So hopefully we're gonna get a good turnout. But anyone listening, join that. Still got time.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm into it for sure. Well, that'll be good.
Thank you for that. I mean, like that was so cool to get it in such a polished little version too. That was amazing.
The remarks are fun, and it was actually Nick Bradshaw gave me the idea. He said he's kind of got tired of always being bogged down with doing commissions at shows. So he decided to just limit what he was even going to offer. And so he just does these prints now with a remark window on them. And he's got prints them on nice paper so you can draw in whatever kind of material you want. And you know what? The Usagi was an experiment. I thought I was going to sell out of it. I only sold 8 of them. But you know what? It's okay. It was like you have to try things. You have to try and see.
Absolutely.
Roll the dice.
Everyone gave me a good response for it. Everyone loved it. You know what I mean? Not everyone bought a remark on one, but whatever. That's fine. But you know what? Like, it was an homage cover too. Maybe the next time I try will be an original piece. I want to try some different things this year. I want to, I've been limiting myself, I think, for too long in terms of what I'm going to offer at shows. I think I want to open it up a little bit. Doing remarks was really kind of bite-sized fan attention, which was nice. I was able to move through a lot of customers, and everyone got a little piece of me. It
it was pretty cool. Because sometimes you get to a show and on a Thursday night you get 3 giant Thor commissions.
Yeah.
That's your whole weekend. You know what I mean? Because between trying to talk to people and catching up with people, it's just hard to get any drawing done. So I just kept my head down and kept on drawing all through Granite. I had no choice.
It should have been an extra 2 days for the show, right? You know.
You know what, man? I never wanted that show to end. Honestly, it was so great. And that first day when we were in that special little room, I mean, it wasn't great for the other artists, obviously, who weren't able to get into that room. I don't know what it was like for them, but for me to be lucky enough to be included with that batch of guys like Eric Talbot was in there. Another guy I didn't get to chat with, but I love his work.
Oh my God. I just saw something that he posted on Instagram today and it just blew me away. And I was like, damn.
I saw some of the commissions that, like, I think Randy lined up for a bunch of people for those, like Santa Luco and for Troy Little and for a bunch of guys. And man, just top level stuff. Santa Luco, that guy is unbelievable. His commissions just ripped my head apart. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. One collector.
I think he's done more interiors for the Turtles than any other artist on IDW.
I wouldn't be surprised. His stuff is such high energy. He must have some kind of animation background. I don't know much about the guy, but I just watched him draw and I was like, God damn, this guy's a monster. Like his just crazy. And then like Michael collector, a TMNT collector, you guys probably know, he brought the big rooftop scene that he had Santa Luco do, like the 4 boys on the rooftop. Unreal. Like I got to hold that piece in my hands at my desk and just like shaking my head like I can't even believe what I'm looking at here.
That's crazy.
Yeah, just really high level artist. Like wow, just amazing. I don't know. That's why I know that sketch battle had to be fixed because there's no way I can draw better than those guys, man. And
I saw him. And I mean, they're great, and I love Mondo Gecko. He's one of my favorite characters, and I'm like, still, Mike, yeah.
Oh man, and Eric Klaus, what a cool style. Didn't know much about his. Had never met him before. What a cool style. I love the way he draws the Ronin. I love that. I don't know what it is he does, man, but he does something no one else is doing. And Chris Vance, another just a solid artist. He had done these beautiful sketch covers I saw there, and he had done the Zipatone he had used, like that halftone screen stuff on it, which is the old school, tonal work on it and stuff like that. Like just, yeah, it was cool. It was nice to see other artists just doing those old school techniques. And yeah, man, can't say enough good about it. My only regret is that I didn't get around and get to chat with everybody because I could have just been a fan. I could have gone there, just blended in with the crowd and just been a fan and left my table empty all day because it was just so much cool stuff to see, And I mean, Rich Horn had his whole collection of the Turtles negatives.
Yeah.
Being able to see those things in person, like, holy moly, man. And then like the history lesson, that guy is just like a history giant. So, he's talking about how these things were used and he's showing where corrections had been made with red tape. And I remember that in high school, like using negatives for film and stuff and how you had to use a special red tape to correct for black and things like this. And like, just really neat little stuff, like little details that only the old fans would even notice, but to have a guy who's so knowledgeable and that somehow he has those things in his possession is just unreal. It's just great.
Yeah, those are one of a kind.
From David, who is Kevin's right-hand man. So I mean, we had found out about it, and after that, I mean, and when did we talk to David? Like last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin's right-hand man, David.
David Wynn.
Oh right, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good guy. Tentacle 10 Comics.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, I guess Rich Horn is the guy who did all the variant covers for Ronin too, right? Like all of the blanks, like the obscurities and stuff. Was that him?
Yes.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, he did the security 1 and 3.
1 and 3.
And, yeah, he did for 1 and 3, and there's a secret one now, but it's not really secret. It's the platinum medal. And those are a arm and a leg.
Oh yeah.
I think he wants like 10 $1,000 for the set.
Wow.
For 1 and 3, and there's I want to say it's between 11 and 13 of them or something like that. I can't remember.
Wow.
But they're expensive.
Oh,
And that's not, you're not even talking about CG Seed books, right?
No, this is just raw.
Yeah. Wow, man. Crazy. One thing I wish I had gone to New York Comic Con to get, although I think I've got some set aside for me. Bob Shaw, who I mentioned earlier, he was there with Biz. So New York Comic Con saw the release of the re-release of Lobo the Last Zarnian #1.
Oh, no kidding.
A brand new cover painted by Biz. And the thing that I've been waiting for forever, a blank Lobo cover. Like with the classic blue chrome logo dropped on in blue, blank Lobo cover, beautiful paper. I'm super excited, man.
Wow. Yeah, I've never seen a blank Lobo, even like New 52, all that stuff. Not been one.
They never made one. This is it.
That's cool.
To have it be the reprint of issue 1 of Lobo, like, you know, Biz and just too crazy.
Dude, I have like Lobo socks. You know, it's like like I roll deep. You know, I may actually wear them at my wedding. I don't know, but
that's amazing.
That's pretty crazy.
Oh,
but,
yeah, man.
With that, I gotta cut us short here. I mean, we could talk to you forever. I mean, it's
absolutely.
I'm gonna shut up, man. No one should ever give me a microphone. I did a podcast the other day, and like it was called The Questionnaire, which is coming up pretty soon. It's really cool, a lot of fun. But it was funny because, you know, the co-host didn't get a word in edgewise, and like, you know, at one point the host was like, "So what do you think?" And he was like, "Well, you asked the man a question, and 15 minutes later he gave us the answer, and then you asked him another question." You know, because I was just kind of like, anyway. Yeah,
it's good. It makes for good audio.
Well, you know what? We could have done a whole show just about Granite. We could have done 2 shows about it. It was.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
good. But no, I really appreciate you guys having me. It's always good to hang out with you guys. And
yes,
it's been too long. Have me.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll probably do it sooner next time rather than.
Yeah, I think we should.
We'll definitely tie one on when we get together next year at Granite.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna need you guys.
There's gonna be trouble.
I've got.
Oh, it's gonna be bad.
I've got Chris Campana. I got all these guys coming after my belt now. So I got Stephen King coming after my belt now. I mean, I met up and coming Stephen King.
Another favorite of the show, Stephen King.
Telling you, man, that guy's got fans too. He does nice work too. So
such a vintage Mirage feel. Yep. You just reminded me. I sent him a message last week. I have to get back to him. Thank you for reminding me.
He's going to be coming on Tags. Stefan, when he's watching this, he's probably going to be like, "Why are you telling everybody this stuff?" But yeah, Tags is coming back. There's going to be a bunch of guys from Granite on it. It's going to be I was mad actually because by the time I got to the schedule and saw all the different Granite guys on there, they're on weeks that I'm not on.
Oh no!
So I started taking my names off of certain ones and crossing them, and then putting my name on other lists. So I'm like, I want to draw with Chris Vance today. I want to draw with these guys. So
it's like major league pitching matchups.
I'm hijacking the schedule now.
Well, good.
Probably going to see me on every week now because
I just know I signed up for Event Horizon, so whoever I get is great. I just love Event Horizon.
Oh, that's fun. That'll be fun. Yeah.
So that's I got the signed poster here. My stuff, so I'm ready to go. We want people to follow you on Instagram at Uncouth Rooth. Follow you on Twitter at Uncouth Rooth. And what's the website?
So I've actually been putting a lot of work into my main website, which is just MikeRooth.com. I'm going to be having a newsletter sign up page soon because I'm not sure. Great. I'm not sure what social media platforms I'm going to continue with going forward. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but I'm getting super annoyed by Facebook these days. And I'm wondering about going to more of a newsletter style format for me. I'm not sure yet. My wife's been helping me build the website though, and it hadn't been updated in like 2 years. So now there's a whole bunch of like current work on it, as well as a bunch of pages from Dodge. And so people can find me on that website. I also do have a shop. It's MikeRooth.bigcartel.com. I still have T-shirts and stuff available, and I have
you need a turtle T-shirt.
I should make one. I know.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little bit less afraid to do that kind of stuff now. I've always been a ask permission first kind of guy, but I'm seeing what people are doing with turtle stuff. I'm seeing what people are getting away with, and no one seems to be calling the police on those guys. So I'm kind of wondering about some different things I could do with the turtles going forward. Like, I honestly felt a little bit weird doing the Ninja Turtles and Usagi homage cover, because it kind of felt like, I don't know, I didn't really get permission to do this. I'm not allowed to sell posters of my Ronin covers, which you'd think I'd be able to do, but I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an odd ground to walk on. But I just think I'm taking a bit of a risk probably doing my Turtles sketchbook. But again, this sketchbook is going to be dedicated to the fans, to guys like you, to Eastman himself for creating this fandom. It's just a small thing that I can do as a daily distraction. But it's going to be a cool thing that everyone's going to like at the end of it, I think.
Oh, definitely.
We get to celebrate turtles.
If you get a hoodie turtle one,
oh yeah,
I want a preview of it before you decide to put it out to anybody. Put it out on your website, and I'd be like, okay, I get first dibs.
Does it go in the front or the back?
Oh yeah, front of the back.
Yeah, the front or the back for the hoodie. That's the question of the ages.
Right, I mean, you could do a wrapparound if you want.
Yeah, you could do like the zipper cut ones, Yeah, we could play with some ideas on that for sure. Damn. Definitely want to do some stuff.
Late bulb.
Yeah, that's like the thought-provoking question that we've asked tonight. But for everyone listening on the podcast, on the audio, you can stay tuned for our pizza recipe, and otherwise we're going to say goodbye to our folks on YouTube. And we want to thank our guest again. Thanks for coming on, Mike Rooth.
My pleasure.
We will catch you soon.
Sounds good. We'll see you then. Be good.
It's pizza time.
And now, in a segment that we call Pizza Time, where we discuss any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or pizza-related food, I give you Pizza Time. Welcome to your Pizza Time. For some reason, talking to Mike Rooth made us hungry for bacon. And you know what Eric always says, the more bacon, the better. That said, here is our pizza time for today, our recipe, the BLT, bacon, lettuce, tomato. What happens when the world's most awesome food meets a killer sandwich? A totally tubular pie. Natch makes one 12-inch pizza. Ingredients: cornmeal or flour for dusting, extra virgin olive oil for brushing and greasing, 4 slices of thick-cut bacon chopped, 1 pound ball pizza dough, homemade or store-bought, 5 slices of American cheese, 2 medium or ripe tomatoes thinly sliced, fine sea salt, 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, 1/2 heaping cup of loosely packed shredded Bibb lettuce. Lighten it up, dudes. You can use whole wheat pizza dough, turkey or vegan bacon, low-fat cheese, or low-fat mayonnaise. On a baking stone or steel pizza peel, place your baking stone in the middle rack of the oven and preheat to 500 Fahrenheit for at least 30 minutes. Then, turn the oven to broil. Dust the pizza peel or inverted baking sheet with cornmeal or flour. On a baking sheet, preheat the oven to 500 Fahrenheit with the rack in the middle position. Lightly coat a heavy-duty rimmed baking sheet with olive oil. Step 1. Cook the bacon in a medium skillet over medium heat for 5 to 7 minutes, stirring every minute or two until it begins to crisp at the edges. Remove the skillet from the heat and then transfer the bacon to a paper towel-lined plate to drain. Step 2. Stretch or roll the dough into a 12-inch disc and place it on the prepared pizza peel or baking sheet. Step 3. Brush the dough lightly with oil and then tile on the cheese, followed by the tomato slices, then sprinkle bacon over the top. Step 4. Shimmy the dough from the pizza peel to the hot baking stone or transfer the baking sheet to an oven. Step 5. Bake until the crust is golden and the cheese begins to brown in spots. About 6 to 8 minutes on the baking stone, 10 to 15 minutes on the baking sheet. Step 6. Remove the pizza from the oven and then let it rest for 5 minutes. Then sprinkle it with a pinch of salt. Step 7. Scoop the mayonnaise into a resealable bag and then snip off the piece of the bottom corner. Step 8. Pipe the mayo in a zigzag pattern over the pizza and then scatter the top with lettuce. Slice and serve. This has been your Baconator Pizza, the BLT. Cowabunga, dudes!
Thank you for listening to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This podcast has no affiliation with Eastman, Laird, Mirage Studios, IDW Studios, Archie Comics, or Nickelodeon Studios. This podcast is a member of the Dorkening Podcast Network. Check out thedorkening.com for other podcasts. Epic Tales from the Sewers is recorded by Justin Cooper and Eric Will.
Hi, this is Francois Chow. I am the Shredder from Secret of the Ooze. And it's been a pleasure for me to talk to Justin and Eric on Epic Tales from the Sewers. It's been great, guys.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for, and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Greetings! We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
He's right. We wax philosophic about lots of geeky crap like old video games and movies, toys, cartoons. I don't know, help me out here.
Music. Pants. Quoting video games that don't have dialogues. Shabibans. Tasty news.
Unnecessarily long Japanese onomatopoeia.
Butt breathers. Uncomfortable nature facts.
Or how to install a thermoflange.
And unlike all those other podcasts, we at Retro Reductopus have an exciting rotating host schedule.
Do we? We sure do.
So, if you didn't like the guy flapping his gums this week,
like me,
worry not, gentle listener. Next week we'll have a whole new host.
Of problems.
Hey, they might still suck, but they'll suck differently.
And you know what's really cool? Retro Reductopus is part of the Dorkening and Inebriar podcast networks, with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
Which is like every other Tuesday. We named it.
Anyways, you can listen to us at iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher,
or any podcast player cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all things that make growing up awesome.